Bill to banners has just advanced in the Nebraska legislature. Two lawmakers who oppose it say they will filibuster every bill for the rest of the 90-day session. America is listening to Fox News.
Vote.
Wow. Happy Thursday, everybody. Today's YouTube live chat poll is asking, if your candidate doesn't win in the primary, will you support the nominee? Yes or no?
And may I just encourage you, because Annie shared that poll idea at the end of yesterday's show. So you need to be here for the entire 3 hours. Otherwise, you will miss things like that, and you'll miss things like I just was doing.
And
like, how many people missed that? Most people did.
You should watch the show on YouTube for the entire show and stream it on the Odyssey app at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Double credit for you.
Guns N' Roses.
Great, very popular band.
Mm-hmm.
Very popular band.
Stream the show because Guns N' Roses.
Hot for Teacher. Great hit.
Yep, Hot for Teacher, Hungry Eyes.
Backstreet's back.
Backstreet's back.
Anything you can imagine.
I found out Hungry Eyes
Mountain.
was not Hall & Oates. I said that on the air and I was wrong.
This is not the room to say that and get corrected in.
Yeah, it's like somebody that I wouldn't even know, Eric
That's
Carmen.
something that you say out loud, and then I go to a trivia night and I'm like, it's Hall & Oates, I
Yeah.
swear. And then they're like, you're the
How do you
dumbest person
know?
ever.
Ryan Wiggins said
Yeah.
so. And then as soon
Whoops.
as that leaves your lips, you're like,
You go,
Yep.
shit.
Bitcha.
Oh.
All right, at 12:25, Hans von Spakovsky is going to join us.
He's going to tell us all of the legal cases in front of the Trump.
Woo!
President Trump.
Oh, good, because there's like
so he
3 or
takes
4.
up the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to have a
gotta
lot to
wise
write down on that. At 1:05, Tyrus is going to join us,
I can push it.
our other Thursday guest. And if you guys missed last Thursday, we're moving Annie, Are You Okay? Into 2 p.m. on our Thursdays now.
Gosh, today's Thursday. Doesn't it seem like the weeks, like every Wednesday in the last 3 weeks, I wake up and I'm like, it's Thursday.
No,
Nope.
no.
Wednesday feels like Thursday.
That's what I'm saying. And it is not. It is Wednesday. No, today's Thursday. Sorry.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Shaking it up. So yes, at 2:25, Trisha's gonna come into the studio and do Annie, Are You Okay? We just have a lot going on Fridays, as you guys know. So we wanted to make sure we could give Trisha a full blocked off segment for that. So that will be at 2:25, and at 2:45, I will give the poll results.
30 seconds.
Wiggins America, what's gonna be in it, really quick?
Rob Kramer is texting us on Twitter, or tweeting at us on Twitter.
Tweeting
Love
at
Rob.
us.
Good old Rob.
Yes.
Oh, Rob Kramer.
There's going to be a candidate, I'll say, would this person be a good candidate for president? That's Wiggins America.
10 seconds.
Okay.
All right.
Greater St. Louis area. Register at wholesaleformula.com. That's wholesaleformula.com.
The Vitae Foundation is out there every single day, every minute, honestly, fighting for the women who are in a position to choose life or not to. Vitae Foundation has made this their mission, and they do it with people like you, people who have that same heart for this particular issue. And there's a great event coming up that you can participate in that helps raise funds to help these women make the decision for life. I want to talk to you about the St. Louis the Vitae Foundation's annual pro-life dinner for St. Louis, and it's coming up Tuesday, April 11th at the Hilton St. Louis Frontenac. Kevin Sorbo is coming to town. Hercules will be here in St. Louis, and he's incredible. He's a credible advocate for life. He has done some really amazing things in the entertainment industry lately, and this is your chance to meet him, to listen to him, to have a wonderful dinner, and help an amazing cause. Tuesday, April 11th, Kevin Sorbo at the St. Louis Vitae Foundation's annual pro-life dinner. Register for your tickets by visiting this website, prowomanaapproach.com.
There are over 10,000 reasons why steel is not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot. Find tools for the job site or your own backyard at over 10,000 authorized local steel dealers. Find yours at steelusa.com.
Refresh your space with new floors by Champion Floor Company. They offer ceramic, vinyl, carpet, and even natural wood floors that are sanded and finished. Schedule a free estimate at championfloor.com. Champion Floor, delivering excellence every day.
That
is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
Right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rip my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
If there's a place you're going to get arrested, let it be New York. He won't even miss his tea time in Mar-a-Lago. He'll be able to catch him, especially if he gets aggressive.
Yeah.
Maybe punches one of the arresting officers. He'll be in Florida in no time. Here's the thing. They can't arrest the president on a Tuesday. It can't be a Wednesday or Thursday. It has to be Friday. So we'll be stuck for the whole weekend talking about it.
Right.
And all this is about is he needs to make the walk. They have to. CNN needs this. They need this. If anyone has watched any of this coverage, they're like, they need this.
Tyrus reacting to the potential of an indictment of former President Donald Trump in Manhattan on the very dramatic Stormy Daniels situation. The hush money, talking about porn stars and paying people off and non-disclosure agreements, blah, blah, blah. Is one of the things that is in front of Donald Trump right now, one of the legal concerns that he would have right now. And once again, the grand jury has been told, nope, not today. So I guess we wait till Monday to find out what happens next. A couple reasons why I played that clip, because at 12:25, we are going to have Hans von Spakovsky on the show, and we are going to walk through, we've talked a lot about the Stormy Daniels case. That's the one that's in front of everybody right now. That is not the only legal trouble that Donald Trump is facing. And you can look at what's taking place in Manhattan with hush money payments that are they campaign in-kind contributions? I guess that's a question. That's the New York case. There's the Georgia case with the nutso lady who was on that grand jury. Do you remember that lady? What happened to that story, Brad? I mean, did I miss something?
I think what happened is the lawyer said, oh my gosh, what is she doing? And they just kind of grabbed her and pulled her out of the spotlight.
This is from that individual.
I wanted to hear from the former president, but honestly, I kind of wanted to subpoena the former president because I got to swear everybody in. And so I thought it'd be really cool to get 60 seconds with President Trump of me looking at him and being like, do you solemnly swear? And me getting to swear him in. I kind of just thought that would be an awesome moment.
Oh my gosh. This is the person in charge. She was the chair of the grand jury. They voted on her. Wait, who's being punked? Is she being punked? Is the grand jury being punked? Am I being punked? Is Trump being punked? He's got to feel like he's being punked.
Man.
Somebody's being punked. Where's Kutcher?
Yeah.
Not Kushner.
Kutcher.
Yeah. Ashton. What was his that 70s show name? Kelso. So that situation in Georgia is out there, and that has to do with the election in Georgia and the things that Donald Trump said. Do you remember the specific charges that they were looking over in the Georgia case that this crazy lady on the grand jury was in charge of?
I don't know the specific charges. It had something to do with the phone call where he said, you just got to find
me votes.
Yep.
I've gone over that a million times. Listen to the whole call. Yeah, that's what you got to do if you want the full context, if you want to make a decision for yourself. I've listened to that whole call. When it gets boiled down into Donald Trump saying, all you got to do is find me 16,000 votes or whatever the number he was saying, that is a portion of a larger conversation where Donald Trump is saying, this was going wrong in Georgia, and that was going wrong in Georgia, and that was going wrong in Georgia, and this is going wrong in Georgia. And in his mind, that amounted to, my recollection is, 6 figures of votes that were in question in his mind. And he was saying, is it Raffensperger? Man, these are files that are sitting in my head. Is that the Secretary of State?
Yeah, Brad Raffensperger.
Raffensperger in Georgia. He was saying to the Secretary of State, listen, if If I've got 5 ways here that I think that things have gone fishy and you think 1, 2, and 3 are going to be incredibly hard to prove, you could still prove 4 and 5 and it still flips Georgia. That was what that conversation was about. He said, you don't need to prove all of these wrong. You just need to find 16,000 votes. And if you do that, that's enough to make the difference. Now, whether you believe that any of those things that Donald Trump were listing or not were right, I know there are many of you listening right now who think he was right on all of those points. I know there are people listening right now who think that he's obnoxiously wrong on all of those points. And then there's a lot of you in between there that are scratching your head going, how did Joe Biden get that many votes? You've got questions. You would like answers. It's hard to look to anywhere to find the truth. It's hard to look to anyone and trust anybody to provide you with the truth because everybody has got an angle to sell you. So Stormy Daniels in New York, crazy grand jury lady, and the election situation in Georgia. And then how could we possibly forget the FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago and the classified documents? And the questions about a lawyer that Donald Trump had that wrote months before the raid that signed a document saying, no, we absolutely have surrendered all of the classified documents that were here and that said they were in complete compliance. And then it turns out they weren't. And the question was Donald Trump keeping things from his lawyer so that his lawyer could plausibly deny the fact that everything was these are the issues that are in front of us and in front of the president, the former president. So is he going to come out batting 1,000 on all of these? Is he going to be charged or indicted and convicted on any of these? If he is convicted, can he still run for the presidency? Because a lot of people will say if he's convicted for a crime, he can't. If he's convicted of a felony, he can't run. Andy McCarthy was on the show with us yesterday, and that's not what he said. I looked it up. I did a little research. I'm going to check my work with a constitutional expert at 1225, Hans von Spakovsky. But there are specific felonies that preclude you from being able to serve the presidency, like selling state secrets or treason. These types of massive felonies that have to do with your ability to handle the business of the American people. Now, you could certainly make the case that if somebody can't keep their life in order and is committing felonies, that they shouldn't be handling the business of the people. But the Constitution still, once again, says, well, the people will decide that. And if the people don't want somebody who has gotten entangled with the law to become the president, then they won't choose that person to become the president. Probably lots of splitting hairs here, but since Donald Trump has a multi-front legal battle in front of him right now, we have to ask the question. If Donald Trump is convicted of any of these crimes, if he is on trial after winning the nomination next year, are there any instances where we get to the point where Donald Trump is no longer eligible to become the president of the United States again? Hans is going to tell us in about 12 minutes, so you're going to want to stick around for that. And then I played that clip because it's Tyrus, and Tyrus is on with us each Thursday at 1:05, and I'm interested to let him talk to us about what he's making about the drama, the Republican Party drama, of course. We've discussed with him before, are you Team DeSantis or Team Trump? And he, like me, and from what I understand yesterday, we had 270 votes or something in that poll yesterday that we did on the show. If you had to pick, are you Team Trump or Team DeSantis? And it was almost a wash. I think it ended up being 54%, 46% or something in favor of DeSantis. But when it's that close, I consider that to be a virtual tie. I was wondering if we would see a landslide. We've done that poll months ago, and I think DeSantis almost had 2/3, if not 3/4 of the support from the audience.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I mean, it was definitive.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we've got a DeSantis crowd out there. That has definitely shifted in that poll from being strongly in the DeSantis camp to being pretty split. But I really can't make the case that our YouTube polls are incredibly scientific. They are of the day and of a very specific group of people.
There's an accurate measurement of the 200 or so people that vote in it.
Exactly. But it brings me to today's YouTube live chat poll, which I really, really, really care way more about this poll than I did about yesterday's poll on where you are, DeSantis or Trump. Today's YouTube poll, if you go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel, we're broadcasting live there as we do each day. You can watch us on the cameras. You can chat in the live chat. in that live chat portion, you're going to see a poll, and it's going to ask you, if your candidate doesn't win in the primary, will you support the nominee? Yes or no? Brad, I'm going to let you get this out of the way right now. Yes or no, you supporting the nominee?
Oh, 100% yes, I'm supporting the nominee.
There's no part of you that's going to be hurt over your guy or girl losing the primary.
Might be a part of me that's like grieved about it. It's like I still think this person was better, but the nominee is the better option considering the other side.
The alternative. What's the battlefield?
Mm-hmm.
What, if you're looking at tryouts or spring training, if you will, and you're trying to get down to the 40-man roster and you need to know who your starting pitcher is going to be or who the fifth person in your rotation is going to be, somebody's going to make it, somebody's not. When you make the final roster, you're going to get to the point where the manager has to say, who's my opening day pitcher? I need the best out there. Want to win game number one. If it's not your guy that's number one, that doesn't mean that they won't potentially be your best pitcher for the rest of the season. Choices will be made, and other people will have to very much so push into the direction of competing on a different playing field and supporting the team that they still wear the uniform for. I don't know that there's a candidate out there on the Republican side, Brad, that wouldn't call themselves America First.
I'm struggling to think maybe, Sununu's not for sure running, but if he would run, he would be kind of like
the other guy.
Yeah.
Because
he'd be the Kasich.
I don't know if Nikki Haley would call herself America First. Mike Pompeo for sure would call himself America First. Donald Trump for sure America First. Ron DeSantis may choose in this race to not call it that, but if I were him, I would tell him to be like, Donald Trump had amazing policies. He was right on. He's I would flatter. I don't know that Donald Trump would hear it as flattery, but I would flatter because there's a lot to flatter there. There's a lot of, the road that has been paved is the road to success. And somebody eventually is going to have to pick up the mantle and move on with it. So when we come back, we're going to connect with Hans von Spakovsky. We're going to talk to him about the legal troubles that face Donald Trump on a wide breadth. And I want to know from him, if you were to say, ooh, this one's going to cause Donald Trump trouble, are there any? Are there any instances where you think maybe all of them are going to cause him real legal trouble, eventually potentially political trouble? But to me, that's just going to be what he makes of it. It's not going when Mar-a-Lago is getting raided, the people on the right side of the aisle are going, are you kidding me? This is how you treat a former president, because you know that they don't treat anybody else like this. It's a Trump thing. And when you see how they are working the system to put together this cocktail of legal charges to try to be able to get to Donald Trump within the legal system, really, this is what you're going to do to the former president? It might be the same thing in Georgia. I feel like there were 4 cases, and I feel like maybe I'm missing one. I don't know. Maybe jaywalked or something.
Yeah, I don't know what the 3 or 4 other ones would
Hans is going to be on with us. Let's take a quick break. I want your poll votes. I need to know how you feel about this. If your candidate doesn't win in the primary, will you support the nominee? Yes or no? And especially if you vote no, I need to see in the comments, if you're willing, share with us why you voted the way you did. Hannah watches those comments as they come in, and she features them, and we will definitely be reading them throughout the show. What are you pointing at? What do I need to do? Not
a lot of time in this song.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, Hans von Spakovsky on Trump's legal troubles. Don't go away.
And we'll never be worlds apart. Maybe in magazines, but you still be my star. Baby, 'cause in the dark, you can't see shiny cars. And that's when you need me there. With you, I'll always share.
So Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan is right there waiting for you to text, to call this number, which is Stewie's number. It's his cell phone number. He carries a cell phone with him everywhere he goes. So if you're interested in purchasing a home and you want to be the most competitive buyer, you are going to understand very quickly when you start talking to Stewie how he is your advocate, how working with Stewart's American Mortgage is unlike other places you're going to go. You're going to get, put into a call center or get handed around and talk to different people every time. They can't afford to do that when you're trying to buy a house. You want to be competitive. You want somebody who's responsive. That is Stewie. I'm a 2-time refinance customer of Stewart's American Mortgage. And when you call or text 314-324-4440, 314-324-4440. You're going to be connected to Stewie himself, and you can get yourself on the path to getting that pre-approval set. Once you do that, you can generate your own pre-approval letters from his website. That means that you're working on your time. You're not waiting for a third party to come in there and get that pre-approval letter to you. It makes it faster. It makes it better. You are going to get that house that you've been trying to get. 314-324-4440. Call and ask about the bagel loan. You pay nothing in fees that other lenders will charge you for. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
At Mucinex, we don't believe in cold and flu season. We only believe in comeback season, which starts with 12-hour relief. Just one dose of Mucinex DM provides 12 hours of relief for cough and chest congestion day or night. That's 3 times longer than those 4-hour cough liquids. So say goodbye to cold and flu season and hello to comeback season with Mucinex DM. Nothing lasts longer among over-the-counter cold and cough medicine. Get relief that lasts with Mucinex DM. Use as directed.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood Parkway, Suite 310, Town & Country, Missouri, 63017. CordellCordell.com.
If you own a small business, you know the value of time. GetRefunds.com does too. That's why they've made it easy, no matter how busy you are, to apply for the Employee Retention Credit, or ERC. Go to Refunds.com to get started, and in less than 8 minutes, see if your business qualifies for ERC assistance. Your business may be eligible for a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee kept on payroll during COVID-19. GetRefunds.com has already helped clients claim over $3 billion in payroll tax refunds through the ERC, and they may be able to help your business too. There's no upfront charge either. They don't get paid until your business gets its refund. Many businesses believe they won't qualify based on incomplete or outdated information. So don't let this opportunity pass you by, because this payroll tax refund is only available for a limited time. Go to GetRefunds.com. That's GetRefunds.com.
Hi guys, it's Mark with Pineview Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, we have a major medical advancement that has helped thousands of men. Our wave technology is backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge University. It's been shown to increase blood flow by repairing blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED, call us now, and not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, but we'll also include something unique that produces powerful results in the bedroom. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. This unprecedented offer is worth $600, but it's free to those who call in the next 2 minutes. Call 314-530-7777. That's 314-530-7777. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Pineview Medical Clinic now to qualify. 314-530-7777.
Cast your vote where it really matters. Local school boards. The Save Our Schools rally is Tuesday, March 28th. Come meet the candidates who align with your values. Go to 971talk.com/events and join us March 28th, 5 to 8 p.m. at Wenty's in Chesterfield.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
And I don't wanna go home right now. And all I could taste is this moment.
Again, the grand jury proceeding is the DA's proceeding. It's not a joint proceeding. It's something that they use as a mechanism to bring a charge. It's a formality for the most part. But we don't know what's going on. But I can tell you there appears to be chaos in that office right now, as there should be, because the Manhattan District Attorney's Office was once the pinnacle of prosecutors' office in this country. Now it's something that's being used as a political tool. And when I see the justice system and a prosecutor's office being used to weaponize the justice system against an individual, it makes me sick to my stomach. As a former prosecutor, I could never have imagined this.
We the people of the United States.
More perfect.
Pure form of our perfect union.
Heritage legal expert Hans von Spakovsky.
So, Hans, welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. There's so much to talk about. We're so glad that you're here today.
Well, thanks for having me. And by the way, I agree with that statement you just played. It makes me sick to see prosecution powers being weaponized for political purposes.
Yeah, that's Joe Tacopina. I don't know how to say his last name for sure, but talking about how there's chaos in the Manhattan's DA's office. And we spoke earlier this week with Andy McCarthy, and he was quick to remind us this isn't the only legal trouble that Donald Trump is facing right now. So I want to start here in Manhattan with what has to be proven in order for Donald Trump to be convicted of what they're looking to charge him for in Manhattan. But I'd also, Hans, if you don't mind, let you kind of walk us around the other battlefronts that Donald Trump will have when it comes to these legal issues.
Sure. Well, look, this case that the Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg, is pursuing is just full of holes. He's claiming that Donald Trump falsified business records. Now, that's a misdemeanor. It's got a 2-year statute of limitations, which is long past, obviously, the 2018 payment to Stormy Daniels. But that same statute says that if what you were concealing in the business records was a criminal violation of the law, well, then suddenly it's a felony and there's a 5-year statute of limitations. Well, the crime that Bragg is claiming was concealed was the payment to Stormy Daniels, because he's saying, oh, that was a violation of federal campaign finance law. The problem with that is that, first of all, as a Manhattan DA, he's got no authority whatsoever to enforce federal campaign finance laws. Those laws are enforced by the U.S. Justice Department and the Federal Election Commission, where I used to be a commissioner. And both of those federal agencies actually opened up investigations, took a look at this payment to Stormy Daniels, and closed their files. They obviously did not think this was a campaign-related expense that needed to be reported, and therefore they didn't prosecute him. And keep in mind, no campaign funds were used to pay this.
So that's something that I get blowback on. They say that, no, people are claiming that Donald Trump or his campaign claimed this donation as a write-off for their political campaign. Did that happen?
No, it was not. No campaign funds were used to pay this. In fact, there's a little bit. Michael Cohen, who is the lawyer who made the payment, the ex-lawyer for Trump, who now apparently is the star witness against Trump for Alvin Bragg.
That's unfortunate.
He sent a letter to the FEC saying, Donald Trump had nothing to do with this. Now, keep in mind that the other big hole in Alvin Bragg's case, which is his star witness is Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen is a convicted perjurer, so he's already been convicted of lying. And his own lawyer, Cohen's ex-lawyer, Robert Costello, he actually testified before the grand jury this week, in which he told the grand jury that Michael Cohen is a serial liar.
It's not looking good
that's
for
your
Cohen.
main witness. I mean, that's your main witness? Oh, come on.
There's a letter circling the internet. I'm sure you've seen it. McDermott, Will, and Emery on the letterhead. It's from February 8th of 2018. And it's to Dear Mr. Jordan, I'm writing on behalf of my client, Michael D. Cohen, in response to your letter dated January 30th, 2018. And it goes on to say, in a private transaction in 2016 before the United States presidential election, Mr. Cohen used his own personal funds to facilitate a payment of $130,000 to Miss Stephanie Clifford. Neither the Trump neither the Trump, I can't read that word, campaign, nor was a party to the transaction with Miss Clifford. It's like it's something that's already been submitted from an attorney saying this doesn't have anything to do with campaign funds or the election. Michael Cohen did it himself. Have you seen this document floating around out there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have. And that's the same thing that he told the FEC. And look, this just was not a campaign-related expense. The people who are saying, oh, yeah, this was related to campaign, that's like saying that somebody who's running for Congress, if they decide to settle out on an auto accident that happened 10 years before the campaign, that's a campaign-related expense. Well, that's an absurd claim. Actually, I can guarantee you this. Remember, neither the FEC nor the Justice Department went after Trump. If Donald Trump had actually used campaign funds raised from donors to pay this off, they would have gone after him. They would have prosecuted him for using campaign funds to pay off a personal expense.
It just seems to me it's so frustrating on my end when I see the consistency of the people who have been duped with misinformation, that the common things, the common threads of the dissent that people have and the way they just want to get Donald Trump so incredibly badly. As we were discussing before, there's more than just what's going on in Manhattan with Alvin Bragg. Let's go to Georgia. What can you tell us about Donald Trump's legal troubles currently in the state of Georgia?
Well, he's got the same problem in Atlanta that he has in Manhattan. In Manhattan, he's got a politically ambitious local Democratic prosecutor. That's exactly the same problem in Atlanta. You have a politically ambitious Democratic prosecutor, Fani Willis. She also convened a grand jury, and they're looking at him over the fact that Republicans set up a contingent set of electors, which is all perfectly legal. Her trying to claim that's somehow illegal or a violation of law is just ridiculous. The contingent electors were set up so that if Trump was successful in his litigation of trying to overturn the election, their votes would be available as electors. There was nothing illegal about that. That kind of thing has happened in prior presidential elections. The other thing that she's looking at is the hour-long conversation that we have a transcript of that, remember, Trump had with Brad Raffensperger and his lawyers, and she's trying to claim that was somehow interference in an election. Well, there's no statute in Georgia about interference with an election, and I've read that transcript, and I'm a former, by the way, county election official in Georgia, so I know election law there. Again, she's trying to create a crime where none occurred. There was nothing in the conversation there. Yeah, it wasn't, it could have been more wisely worded, but he was not telling Brad Raffensperger to somehow manufacture fraudulent votes. What he was saying was he was complaining because he thought there had been votes cast illegitimately and that there were legitimate votes cast that hadn't been counted. That's the clear text to me of the conversation. Again, this is just a politically ambitious DA trying to get her name in the national spotlight.
Yeah, I remember, I feel like, was that call like 45 minutes? I remember it being pretty lengthy. And because I specifically remember I walked on the treadmill and I listened to the whole thing because there were a lot of clips coming out and the clips did sound bad. It was like, ooh, Trump, what are you doing here? So I listened to the whole thing, and just like you're articulating here, Donald Trump was saying, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different areas here where I think we've got a major concern about what was going on in Georgia. I don't need you to prove all 5 of these. I need you to prove 1 or maybe 2 of these, and it could change the direction of the course of the election. There are other people saying that he knew that he was completely wrong and he completely lied and was trying to mislead Raffensperger in that conversation. Do we know that Donald Trump knew he was lying in that phone call? And B, even if he did know that he was lying, is that a crime?
Is there anybody out there that really thinks that Donald Trump doesn't believe that he actually won the 2020 election? Come on. I mean,
just listen to the guy. He'll tell you.
Yeah, he believes that the election, he was cheated out of the election by illegitimate votes and problems in the vote counting. So anybody who thinks that he knew at the time that he really lost, that's just not going to fly.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. So then we go to all of these seem like they were the bombshell stories surrounding President Trump. We move a little bit further south to Mar-a-Lago in Florida, an FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago. Where does that legal trouble stand?
Well, just within the last day, a court of appeals in the District of Columbia ruled that Donald Trump's lawyer does have to appear to testify before a grand jury, which is looking at the criminal investigation. Keep in mind, there's been no criminal charges of any kind filed against Donald Trump. There is a Justice Department criminal investigation going on over his retention of these supposedly classified documents in Mar-a-Lago. And what the Court of Appeals said was, the attorney-client privilege does not work. You, Trump's lawyer, you have to testify before the grand jury and tell them all about your communications with the president over this. Could that lead down the road to some kind of criminal charges over his retention of classified documents? Yeah, but I think DOJ would then have to explain why, and I think the president's defense lawyers would make mincemeat over the fact that I think we lost track. How many classified documents did Hillary Clinton have on her home server at her house?
We'll never know.
And we'll never know because they destroyed it all, and she was never prosecuted for that.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of Mike Pompeo's book, and of course it's written from Mike Pompeo's perspective, but he talks about how John Bolton wrote a book and published classified information and hasn't been punished for any of that. And there are multiple cases where classified information has been out there. It seems as though as long as you're on the politically expedient side of the aisle, you're permitted a lot more leash than, of course, if you're Donald Trump. So that's the Mar-a-Lago case. Are there any other cases out there right now that Donald Trump's legal team is working feverishly to defend the president?
Yeah, I'll tell you the other big one. And the big one is that, Donald Trump's organization, two of his companies were sued in New York by the New York State Attorney General, Letitia James, who, by the way, is also a very politically ambitious person. I mean, when she was running for office, she promised, as part of a campaign promise, that she was going to go after Donald Trump. In December, the CEO, the chief financial officer of the Trump company, Alan Weisselberg, actually was convicted of tax fraud. And the claim there was that they were giving inflated numbers on the net worth of the company. That led to tax fraud, et cetera. And Weisselberg was convicted. He was actually sentenced to 5 months in prison for that. And there's a trial actually coming up in October where the state attorney general has filed a civil case, not a criminal prosecution, but a civil case seeking $250 million because of what she claims is tax fraud. And the suit is against Donald Trump and 3 of his children.
Okay. Well, that is a walk around the country in the legal troubles of Donald Trump. Before we let you go, Hans von Spakovsky with us right now. You're the senior legal fellow at the Heritage Foundation, a former FEC commissioner. As you've mentioned throughout this conversation, a lot of intersections in expertise that you specifically have when it comes to these varying legal issues facing Donald Trump. Do you feel like he's going to be convicted of any of the things that he's being accused of right now?
I think it's possible, and not because he's actually guilty of wrongdoing, but like in the DA, the Alvin Bragg, the DA in Manhattan. Look, I think he knows that his case is full of holes, both factually and legally, but I think he's counting on a biased, liberal New York jury and a biased, liberal New York judge going forward with this, despite the fact that he's got no facts and no law on his side, because people there just hate Donald Trump so much.
If he is convicted of any, maybe all of these crimes, does that take away his ability to be elected as president once again?
No, it does not. There are 3 requirements in the U.S. Constitution to be president. As long as you meet those and you get elected, you serve as president. It doesn't matter if you've got prior criminal convictions or anything like that.
You have to be plagued with the understanding that you really grasp the strength of the Constitution and the masterclass calisthenics of constitutional knowledge that you have to apply to this historical moment in time. We're so grateful that you come on here with us, because we're all sitting here going, what is happening? And a lot of these things never tested before in our country's history. So Hans, we're so grateful that you give us your time each week.
I'm happy to do it.
Thank you. We'll talk to you again soon. Hans von Spakovsky, Senior Legal Fellow at the Heritage Foundation. He could be convicted of 4 different crimes and be your 47th president.
Yeah, 47th.
And not the 46th. You can't forget the guy in the middle of those 2. Oh, boy. Maybe that's going to be the next poll, if not tomorrow, because Friday polls are more fun. If Donald Trump is convicted of a crime, would it lessen your willingness to vote for him if you were a Trump voter? I'd be curious. You can leave the comments here. I'll read them, because you listen to Hans talk about all of these different legal battles that he's facing. People bring charges in Washington, D.C. because you can't really get a jury of your peers in Washington, D.C. if you're a political person who's on the right side of the aisle. It's like 90% Democrats there. It's gonna be so crazy. All right. Well, thanks to Hans for all of that information. Download that if you missed some of it. Get on that Odyssey app and rewind to 12:25 and start listening to that conversation from Hans as he walks us through all of the main legal battles facing President Trump right now. He might win them all, and definitely could make him stronger with each legal battle that he faces, especially if you watch this and you see this and you consume it and think, this man is taking every single arrow fired at him and swatting him down left and right, which is why they fire more and more and more. Is it the biggest campaign issue in front of us, or is it the biggest distraction? Or is it both? It's hard to tell. Wiggins America, when we come back, there is somebody who people are chattering about should run for president, and we're going to listen to Ryan Wiggins tell us why maybe we should consider this person or maybe shouldn't. Stick around. Wiggins America on Annie Frey Show when we come back.
I just want you to know who I am.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
PreventSprainSocks.com. I swear by these socks. I use them when I work out, box, when I'm playing sports. These are fantastic socks that provide you the support you need for your ankles. If you have a prior ankle injury like I do, I use these socks to help rely on extra strength and sturdiness in an area where I really cannot afford at this time in my life, raising 4 kids, trying to be somebody who's got to be here, there, and everywhere on my feet. I can't have a busted ankle. I also have to remain active. That's where Prevent Sprain socks come in for me. I put them on my kids. They wear them when they play sports. And then their teammates were like, I got to get me some of those socks. And it just started to spread. If you are somebody who is active, if you just take walks, if you're somebody who plays pickleball, if you play, beer league softball, you want Prevent Sprain socks to give you the support that you need. Reach out to them online and you can see the different colors that they have, the different styles that they have. It's all there for you at PreventSprainsocks.com.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They're in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, it looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now, 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
If you own a home in St. Louis and you want to sell it as is, without any inspections or the need to make any repairs, call Chris Buys Homes, stlouis.com at 314-782-8000 and get your cash offer without any obligation, commissions, banks, or headaches. Chris buys vacant homes, inherited homes, fixer-uppers, beautiful homes, even the tenant who won't pay the rent apartment. Google us. Chris Buys Homes in St. Louis, and check out our best reviews from satisfied customers. When you sell to Chris, you decide when you want to move, according to your schedule and your terms. Go to our website, chrisbuyshomes.stlouis.com, or call Chris at 314-782-8000. That's 314-782-8000, and get the offer you've been waiting for. 314-782-8000.
Join Mosby Building Arts every Saturday from 12 to 1 p.m. on 97.1 FM. Rich Orris and guests give insider tips about renovations, design, construction, exteriors, and more. Tune in to Right at Home with Rich on Saturdays or catch the podcast online.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Save up to $7,500 on a new hybrid HVAC system and save an additional 20% when bundled with attic insulation. This is a limited time offer. For details and a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Free speech has a home. 97.1 FM Talk.
Your home for conservative talk.
One of the only places where conservative ideas aren't shut out of the conversation. This is the Annie Frey Show.
Wiggins! Oh! Wiggins!
Requiring people to get licensing, requiring training, I see that as a barrier.
Does training with guns make you safer?
Yes.
And you would remove that as mandatory?
As mandatory, yes.
So you are making us less safe?
No.
Are you familiar with logic?
And there's the man himself. That is
Dolly Parton.
Donnie Parton. That's Donnie Parton.
That's of the Collinsville Partons.
You weren't expecting him to run for president, were you? Because you didn't know he existed.
Donnie Parton.
Now you do. So yeah, that's who we're talking about as being suggested to run for president. At least Howard Stern is throwing that out there and really pushing
You have to say who it actually is.
Jon Stewart to run for president.
Donnie Parton.
It's not Donnie Parton. Although I'm all for that, whoever that guy is. Jon Stewart is being pushed to run for president by
Joe
certain
Biden
corners.
doesn't even work from 9 to 5.
That is a very, very good song reference.
He's like at 11 a.m. I know. We can do Dolly Parton songs on this show.
Can you do another one right now?
I will always love you.
Thank you.
I was talking to Brad.
Jon Stewart for president. When I first saw this, I went, oh, come on. And then I paused and thought, actually, if he runs, he has a good shot. Let's say 2024 or beyond. I think the guy actually could win the nomination.
Jon Stewart versus Mike Rowe. Let's go.
Oh, man.
I'm in.
That would be a battle for the ages.
But what do you think about the suggestion? Now, he came out about a year ago and said, oh, I'm not going to do that because people talk about it. But in this recent little spat of people talking about him again, he hasn't said anything. So it's not that he will run, but he's obviously very politically involved. entertainers can run for president. Surprise, surprise. I think we've proved that.
Donald Trump versus John. I actually know someone named Don Stewart. He was a wonderful man. If Donald Trump versus Jon Stewart would be the most entertaining election in the history of elections.
I can tell you who would love that. Odyssey and every other media company.
Yeah.
Because people would be glued.
So funny. Jon Stewart doing The Daily Show every opportunity he got with Donald Trump. I mean, he would make fun of Donald Trump in a way that everybody has taken a pitch on, and he'd be doing it advocating to become the president of the United States, so he'd have to be doing it in a way that made him likable. People are hearing me going, Annie, are you a fan of Jon Stewart? No, he's just really good at what he does.
So do you think, let's take Donald Trump out of the scenario. Let's say it's DeSantis or let's say it's 2028, whatever. Do you think Jon Stewart, now he can handle a debate. He could probably handle a political conversation because he's good at talking. Do you think he has what it takes to run for president?
I'm going to push back a little bit on that he can handle a political debate because he does at times allow his emotions to get the better of him.
He's also a person who thrives in produced entertainment, which is 100% scripted and prepared.
And I don't know if you remember this, Annie, Ryan, and we talked a little bit about this.
Is it before my time?
But
we're a little older than
when
you.
they were doing the burn pit bills,
Yeah.
Jon Stewart was very much a big proponent of that.
Yeah.
But people like Jack Posobiec were kind of pushing back because they didn't like the way the bill was being done. And Stewart and Posobiec got into a shouting match. Well, Stewart started shouting at Posobiec.
On Twitter?
Yeah. And then they had a conversation off the camera, and Jon Stewart came back on, kind of looked like a puppy that got in trouble for peeing on the rug, and was like, I'm sorry, I got out over my skis.
This is Jack Posobiec. I'm here with Tim Jensen of Grunt Style, and
hello.
Jon Stewart is also here. Jon Stewart and I have decided to come to agreement. Have we not, John?
Yes, sir. I lost my temper a little bit. I felt like I was being trolled, and I realized that the important thing is you just got to get this done for these guys and get them over the finish line to get the health care they need.
We're at 98%. Let's get it over the last 2%.
Please.
Is that fair?
Fair.
You shake on it?
7-5, brother.
Do or die.
So that's the clip.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that being super emotional is a problem. Donald Trump is
well, I would say it is.
It's all emotion.
Well, I would say it is, though, because Donald Trump didn't win the 2020 election, and it has a lot to do with his abrasiveness and his emotionalism. People just didn't like it.
Nah, they don't like him.
Well, yeah, but that's why they don't like him.
He also was president of the United States, though.
Well, yeah, but he was running against Hillary Clinton, who people didn't like.
But he was president of the United States because of his emotional nature. It's his high and it's his low. Jon Stewart, the Republicans and the Democrats are not held to the same standards. You could be righteously indignant as on the left, and they would champion it. On the right, none of it matters because you're on the right. They hate you. I mean, it's that simple.
You said something that I think is very true of Jon Stewart, too, because I was thinking about this in detail, obviously, because it's the topic that I was going to bring. I think that he could attract non-voters. He would increase turnout quite a bit, but he would struggle outside of a produced television room where he's in control.
I think it all depends on if he wants it. If he wants it, I think he could be a contender. If the Democrat Party, in my opinion, knew what was good for them, they would go non-establishment for their next candidate. And I think the closest they get to that is Michelle Obama. I think Michelle Obama would be almost impossible to beat. And to me, the more the walls close in on Hunter Biden, ergo Joe Biden, the vice president for Barack Obama, if I don't know what will be at stake. I don't know nothing about nothing. You know why? Because they don't report on it. they don't cover it. If there are concerns about what Joe Biden was doing as the vice president, that does entangle Barack Obama. Maybe Obama literally doesn't know anything about it. How is that possible?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Joe Biden didn't do anything wrong. I just want to know what the truth is. If there is a scenario where there's potential concern about how this Biden problem could wash over the Obamas, I think Michelle runs to protect her family.
Would you put Jon Stewart in that non-establishment category?
Yes, very much so.
Just somebody who's outside of the normal conversation, who's not in politics, hard politics.
Especially if it's against Trump.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Democrats never talk about non-establishment. I mean, there's so much hierarchy.
It's amazing.
That goes into like how you become the president. I don't disrespect that. I think that that's right. You could rise to the job. I think it matters a lot that you have experience when you go in. I think that that's an asset, but you just don't get to rise to that occasion and just walk into it. You gotta earn it, because that's our position to provide to you with our votes. All right. I don't know if you think Jon Stewart would be a contender. Let us know in the YouTube live chat. We'll talk to Tyrus when we come back.
Did you know the IRS is a super creditor? Hi, I'm Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. The IRS is the only creditor that can create a bill for you without your permission, then drop the hammer and aggressively collect it by wiping out your bank account, seizing your assets, and levying your wages. No other creditor can do that, and this can all happen without a court approval. If you owe back taxes, you need to be prepared to face the super creditor. Don't just sit back and take it. Fight back. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, we know how to use the laws to your advantage and go toe-to-toe with the IRS. Our office is located right here in St. Louis. Contact the Lance Drury Law Firm today for a free consultation with me, or visit us at lancedrurylaw.com or call 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120 to get started.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Let's talk about your next flooring purchase. Have you gone to igotfloor.com? You are going to see all of the different products and services that they do offer you. Michael's Flooring Outlet is a St. Louis-owned, family-operated business, and they do installation, design consultation. They can help you with hardwood refinishing, custom area rugs. They can help you fit your new flooring purchase with exactly the look that you were trying to achieve. They love working with people like you, and that's how they've been around for almost 30 years, helping people find that flooring that's going to transform that area. Maybe it's in your residence, maybe it's commercial, maybe it's at your church. I want you to understand how dedicated Michael's Flooring Outlet is to making sure that your process, that the path that you go down to make this flooring purchase is one that you're going to rave about afterwards. If you're looking for hardwood, if you're looking for tile, if you're looking for the Mohawk Smart Strand carpeting line, it's there at Michael's Flooring Outlet. Shop right now. Go to igotfloored.com.
Hey, Jimmy, I'm going to ask Rachel to marry me, and I need your help. Take these flashcards. I've got to learn these engagement ring terms. Quiz me.
Okay, halo, vintage, channel set.
Those are all ringtones.
Ring styles. Now, how about this? SI2, HVVS, ESI1.
I got bingo?
No, those are diamond grades. Okay, table, crown, girdle.
What a queen wears to dinner.
OMG, no, those are all parts of the diamond. Okay, this one's easy. Baraggio, Tacori, Dossi.
I know this. Types of cheeses.
Dude, ring designers.
Guys, don't sweat it. Come to Diamonds Direct and let us teach you how to buy like a dealer buys. We'll teach you all the inside secrets, as well as explain the good and bad when it comes to lab-grown diamonds versus natural ones. At Diamonds Direct, we take all the mystery out of the process and give you the expert guidance you need to make a smart decision.
Here, I made you new flashcards.
Garage, deck, windows, shrubs?
Welcome to married life.
Diamonds Direct. Details and more at diamondsdirect.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It's all about values. Lisa Brady, Fox News. That's the case President Biden is making for his budget plans as he marks the 13th anniversary of Obamacare.
My administration is focused intensely on building on the progress of the Affordable Care Act, getting more people affordable insurance, lowering prescription drug prices, giving families more breathing room.
The president using that event to call out MAGA Republicans again, accusing them of wanting to help pharmaceutical companies instead of seniors. Republicans are calling for spending cuts as part of a debt ceiling debate. The proposed defense budget is a record $842 billion.
This is a budget aimed squarely at keeping America secure
in the world of the 21st century.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin at a House hearing where the Joint Chiefs Chairman also defended continued support for Ukraine as part of a broader defense of the system that's prevented world war for decades. As Congress considers banning TikTok, the app's chief executive is giving lawmakers a lot of assurances about security concerns and data privacy.
We have legacy U.S. data sitting in our servers in Virginia and in Singapore. We're deleting those, and we expect that to be complete this year. When that is done, all protected U.S. data will be under the protection of U.S. law.
Also saying they don't and would not give information to the Chinese government, but that's not enough for many lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. New Jersey Democratic Congressman Frank Pallone pressing CEO Shou Zhu to commit not to collect health and location data.
This is data that's frequently collected by many other companies in our industry.
I know other companies do it. I don't think they should without affirmative consent. You said you want to be a good actor, so why not make that commitment to me today?
Lawmakers also raising concern about kids' mental health. Chu says safety, especially for teens, is a top priority. Fire officials in Massachusetts say some freight train cars have derailed in the central part of the state. They also say there's no hazardous material. America's listening to Fox News.
I'd rather ride a bike with my kids
Faster!
than ride in an ambulance.
I'd rather have a catch with my dog Curtis than catch pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with certain chronic conditions like heart disease, asthma, or diabetes, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20 pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Learn more at Prevnar20.com. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Our high temperature this afternoon should touch 70 degrees, but we'll start to fall back into the low to mid 60s going through the afternoon. It's windy and it's humid with waves of rain and thunderstorms. Tonight, rain and thunderstorms, some heavy downpours at times, some flooding along the small streams and creeks, cooler and less humid 43. Friday, scattered rain and a couple of thunder showers and cool 55. This is 97.1 FM Talk Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
McKelvey Homes is celebrating 125 years of business, going back to 1898. To celebrate, they're taking $18,980 off every home. The Preserve, a great location close to Ted Drew's, Kirkwood, Webster Groves, villas from the 300s, the Liberty Series in the Glen, luxurious designer series on wooded lots in the estates. All three villages are now open at the Preserve at Watson and McKenzie, McKelveyHomes.com.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
FullyDentalGroup.com. If you are looking for the top tier dental care that is accepting new patients, where the Frey family goes, check out FullyDentalGroup.com, a brand new facility in Maryville. It is by 270 and 159, easy to get to from anywhere in the bi-state region. You get, like I said, the best dental care. It's a whole health care approach, and they're going to work with you whether you have insurance or not. They are going to help you with a whole variety of issues you may have. Maybe you've put off going to the dentist and you just need to have a teeth cleaning. I need to make an appointment to go to the dentist myself. Actually, while I'm talking about this, I'm going to make an appointment after I get done right here. When you go and get your teeth cleaned, If you have an issue, they're going to give you the options you need to know that you can use to address that issue. If you have something bigger bothering you right now, an ache or a pain in your mouth, if you have missing teeth and you need to have a solution, implants, dentures, they do the whole thing. They can also help with sleep disordered breathing. Reach out to Foley Dental Group and call by 618-288-9670. You can find them online at FoleyDentalGroup.com.
If you haven't joined us for a Fish Fry Friday, come say hello and pick up some fish for dinner.
This week, we're at the Knights of Columbus in Cottleville.
The Mark Reardon Show Fish Fry Fridays in Cottleville this week on St. Louis's home for conservative talk, 97.1 FM Talk.
Tune into the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del, self-made millionaire and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, will show you how to live the life of your dreams and pay for it with passive income.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Thanks for being with us on a Thursday afternoon. I'm going to check my phone here real quick. It is in St. Louis right now. It is, where's the weather? How come it's not there right now? Of course, when I need it. It's like 60 degrees when I came inside.
It says 61 on my computer.
61?
Mm-hmm. Mostly cloudy.
Why are we inside?
Because we got to do a radio show.
No, just go outside and yell at people. It'd be the same thing. I always wait for spring to set in and to kind of take root, and then there's always a cold day that mixes itself in there. Are you a shorts around year type of guy? You don't wear shorts very often.
I like shorts, but when I'm doing something outside and it's hot. If I gotta go I'm mainly blue jeans.
Blue jeans?
Yep.
My grandpa, World War II vet, Army topographer. He had a very cool responsibility in the military because he did, I guess, plat maps or something for, my dad's gonna be like, no, that's not right. It's close. For farms. He knew how to, from an aerial view, draw maps and whatever. So he was an Army topographer in World War II, served in the Pacific, Australia, that type of area. And just, I don't know if maybe that's just the way Grandpa was, but he was just a specific kind of a breed. When you think about the Greatest Generation, he just was a very hardworking man, didn't sit still until the sun went down for the most part, would cut the grass and, the family farm that was, I don't know, I'm guessing maybe 6 acres of grass, just fields that needed to be cut. And it was always cut. And he would wear jeans and a denim button-up long sleeve shirt, gloves, sun hat, 100-degree weather in the summer.
So my grandpa was the exact same way, except he wore Dickies work pants.
Yeah?
And a Dickies work shirt that was short-sleeved and a baseball cap instead of a sun hat.
He would not... my recollection is that he didn't do much grass cutting with short sleeves. And I always remember just being like, Grandpa, it's hot out there. What are you doing? And, like I said, hard worker, grew up as a farm boy, grew up farming and knew what it meant to be outside. And then I remember when he would, if we were over at his house in the evening and he'd go down and after working hard, he worked at Shell Oil Refinery. So that was also some hard blue collar labor, shift work and everything. And I don't think he ever worked in my lifetime. I think he was retired. Definitely my whole recollection of him was just as a grandpa. But he'd get done with his work throughout the day. He'd be out, picking up sticks, piling up sticks, raking gumballs. There's just something to do all the time. There was never a day to just sit inside and enjoy the day inside. There was work to do somewhere. Go find it and do it. But he'd wear all of that clothes, cover all of his skin, protect all of his skin from the sun. Like I said, big sun hat, big round, big brimmed sun hat. And then he'd come in, and if you caught him at the right time, the shower that he would take that used was in the basement. And he'd come upstairs in his white boxers and his white tank top.
A shirt.
What is it?
They call it an A shirt.
I know what they call it. I don't think I'm supposed to say.
No.
But that kind of, and he just kind of like scurry on by. And there he goes.
My grandpa wore a V-neck T-shirt.
Undershirt?
Yep.
Yeah, those are the days. I don't, that idea of labor that you do around your house. I mean, do you know people like that? They can't sit still? Gotta work?
Yeah, my dad.
Your dad?
My dad is one of them. He just, I mean.
It's annoying to be around. It makes you feel really crappy about yourself.
No, he'd look at me like, get up and pick up some sticks or something.
Yeah. I just, it's refreshing because it's, to me, have we lost that? I mean, the idea of work, I know that we ask a lot of our kids. We ask our kids to participate and to help. And they're kids, so that their responses can be very moody.
Mm-hmm.
And we fail to care. I mean, your mood is not going to affect my ask of you in any way that you want it to affect my ask of you. If it affects it, if your mood is such that you're trying to indicate to me that you don't want to participate in the help, you will do more work.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we were like that. I don't know if my dad was like that growing up, but when you grow up working on a farm and you have to do the labor, you have to do the work. I don't know that there really exists anything for the generation that I will say, I'll put my generation in it as well, our generation in it, and the generation that we're raising. Is there anything out there right now that's making kids grow up in a way where they just understand, no, you just got to work?
I think they'd have to grow up on a farm. I really do. They have to go out in the fields with their dad or their uncle or whatever and throw hay bales. Did you ever have to do that?
No, I've never thrown hay bales. My husband did throw hay bales. He had asthma, and so that became a problem.
Oh, man.
He also worked on a horseradish farm.
Oh, man.
One time, and that caused a concern. But that's difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, we would throw hay bales, and like when you're out in the field, you're like, oh, this is bad. And then when you got to take them into the shed and stack them, that's way worse because there's no air blowing. It's full of dirt. It's 97,
super dirty.
97, 98 degrees out there. You're covered in sweat, and you got to wear long sleeves because the straw in the hay will eat you up.
Yeah.
And
cut you up.
Yeah, and you're just covered, snot running out your nose, trying to get this stuff up. But
it's disgusting.
You know, like it makes every other job that you do go, that sounds so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you suffer through working the cashier at Target now?
Yeah. I mean, I did that. The other thing that I did too was hoeing fields. Have you ever done that? So you just walk down the rows of the field with a garden hoe.
Weeds?
And you find a weed and you chop it out.
Does that still happen? There's so much technology and money in farming.
A lot of chemicals now. But yeah, my uncle would, and he said rather than buying the chemicals, I would rather pay you guys to do this. And so he would hire us to go out and walk the fields. And
yeah, I wonder if that was a wash. I wonder economically how that shook out to pay people to do that versus the chemicals.
Well, I was like
cheap labor.
12. So yeah, cheap labor.
12 years. Here's a question. Should 12-year-olds be out in the fields finding weeds and making them go away?
Yes.
Not even necessarily for money.
No.
It's kind of nice if you do get it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm not advocating for you to go find a 12-year-old and say, we're going to the field now, let's go. But if you're a child and you're worried about the work that mom and dad are making you do, you don't even have a clue.
Mm-mm.
My parents always gave us chores. Oh, gosh, this is a story. We would have, especially during the summer. Did you stay home a lot by yourself? Where are you at in your siblings?
I'm the big kid. I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest.
Yeah.
And you have two siblings?
2 siblings. Brother, who's the middle, and then my sister is the youngest.
Did you stay at home a lot?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I would not leave my kids at home the way we were left at home.
Yeah.
But the 80s and the 90s are just different.
Well, my mom was a stay-at-home mom, until we moved to where they live currently. And when they moved out there, she got a job. And I think I was in the middle of 7th grade. So what is that? 11, 12?
12.
Her job
13 and 7th
her job would keep her out late, and my dad's job was like 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. because, you drive until there's no daylight. And so whenever I would get home from school, we'd walk back home from getting off the bus and, up the driveway. And if there was nobody home, we let ourselves in and we were by ourselves until my mom or my dad got back home.
No cell phones?
Mm-mm.
If mom and dad were in the car?
Well, I'll say this. My dad always had a phone.
Yeah?
Yeah. Even remember the bag phones, the
Sure.
brick phones? That's what he had. So.
Would he use them?
Oh, yeah. They would run the business while driving the truck.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that makes sense. That's kind of an exception that makes sense.
But it was, pay by the minute. And so it's like, you don't call me.
Did your parents give you... Yeah, exactly. It's better be an emergency and you got to do it in 59 seconds. Go. Did your parents give you chores?
No, I didn't have chores.
Did you have to do chores?
I had to do chores, but we didn't have a list of things that we're expected to do. It was just whatever it was that my mom or dad would assign to us.
Little Annie had a list of chores. It was just like a whole thing. My dad's like a spreadsheet guy.
I am shocked.
I know.
I wonder where you got it.
Uh-huh. And each of us kids would have, there was always a list of chores, and they'd get put in your column, and you'd get a quarter for every chore, which is funny looking back because you could do one chore that was going to take a lot of time, and then another chore, which would be like, go get the trash can that's in the side field and put it back in the garage, and that was a quarter too.
Mm-hmm.
It was a quarter a chore. And so you would go through the week, and then that would be your allowance. You would, I think in total, it usually ended up being about $5 a week, maybe $10 a week. But there is a bottom half of that paper that would get put on the refrigerator. And my sister and my brother, I'm the middle, which also probably explains a few things. We'd all have our list up there. And then on the bottom half of that paper, there was a word that I see in my nightmares, and it said demerits.
Oh.
And if you got a demerit, it costs you a quarter. And I probably still owe my parents money. Like, I can hear them being like, that's a demerit over and over again. And here's the thing. I was a really good kid. I was the well-behaved kid that my friends were, if they were grounded and Annie wants to go out, you can go out with Annie. So I was a very good, probably too good in many respects, kid, but I was mouthy. and my parents didn't accept it. So they charged me for it. But it's a quarter a demerit. And so I kind of feel like that was slave labor. Like I was doing all this work. I wasn't getting paid for anything. And at the end of the week, I owed them. What's that about?
I was the exact same. I was not a bad kid. I didn't get into trouble. I didn't run up, but man, I run my mouth.
Yeah. My dad once told me he was happy to see that all of that challenging has paid off for me.
I think my parents feel that way too.
Yeah, you're in the middle. You got an older sister who doesn't want to have anything to do with you. I mean, she was into a lot of things. She was great at everything she did. And I was the annoying little sister that was tagging around. And we didn't play. We were not out there doing things.
What was the separation?
3 years.
3 years?
Yeah. 81, 84. And, I had to have been super annoying. Like, I want to play with you. Let's play this, that, the other thing. She's like, I am not going to play these little baby games with you, Annie. And so I'm sure I was super crazy annoying. And my brother is about 2.5 years younger than me. You've met my brother. Mm-hmm. And he and I are incredibly alike. And he and I would spend school, after school or summers, we would go into the woods and we would play in the creek and we would dam up the creek and we would build forts and we would do all of these things. And I think we fought through 75% of it as siblings, bickering back and forth, but we did it together the whole time. So he and I fought a lot, but we kind of did it together in the ways that brothers and sisters tend to do. But being in the middle, I always had to kind of work my elbows to make sure that my space was known. And it was very known right there in the demerit section of the piece of paper on the fridge where Katie and Joey had no issues. And Annie, it was like, we need another paper. Mom, get another piece of paper. Put demerits on the top and Annie's name. There it was. She said I was super mouthy. If I was told, in my very, very minor and unsuccessful defense, if I felt like I was really right, I had a problem conceding the fact that it didn't matter. And I was a child and they were adults, and it was always about respect. I'm grateful for that because it really did translate outside of the home, but it was a little difficult inside the home. But we certainly had chores. I remember one of them was spot clean the floor in the kitchen.
Oh, that sounds fun.
No, it's terrible. And to me, I'm like, I wish I had a copy of that because I would like to implement that with my kids. But we would have to go around on the floor, and we had that vinyl that would get scuffed.
Yeah.
So it would basically be like, get the scuffs off the floor. So you'd go around with a washcloth and clean it off.
Those like rubber marks or whatever from the scuffs. Oh, that's awful.
Those were the days. Those were the good old days. Now we just punish them by not letting them play video games and going to bed early or something. I don't know. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, let's see if Ryan and Hannah want to come in the studio. We can talk to them about chores that they had growing up and how our generations today being raised in a way to value work, to value what it takes to earn money. Is that something that is important in the way we're raising our kids? Because entitlement in a governmental policy standpoint seems to be one of those biggest issues facing us. We'll be back in a minute.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
StayHomeMedical.com. If you were looking for a lab draw, and this is something that I have personally dealt with. You need to get some lab work done. You go see the doctor and they're like, I'd like to run some labs and see blah, blah, blah. And you're like, okay. And then you never get to the lab because you have to schedule another appointment. And it just seems like a hassle to get that done. Stay Home Medical is there to help you with that process. This is a mobile urgent care that also offers these phlebotomy services. Their goal is to ease the burden of travel and long wait times that you might have for those laboratory services. They can draw any of your ordered physician lab tests in the comfort of your home or in your office, and they can maintain both efficiency and privacy in the process of doing that. Also with Stay Home Medical, again, stayhomemedical.com, they provide those mobile urgent care services. If you feel the need to go to urgent care for a particular issue, call Stay Home Medical first and have them come to you. I think you're going to find it to be cost-effective and incredibly more efficient and comfortable. 314-944-3003, 314-944-3003, stayhomemedical.com.
Hi guys, it's Mark with Pineview Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, we have a major medical advancement that has helped thousands of men. Our wave technology is backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge University. It's been shown to increase blood flow by repairing blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED, call us now, and not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, but will also include something unique that produces powerful results in the bedroom. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. This unprecedented offer is worth $600, but it's free to those who call in the next 2 minutes. Call 314-530-7777. That's 314-530-7777. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Pineview Medical Clinic now to qualify. 314-530-7777.
Stop everything you're doing right now and ask yourself, are you currently receiving steady paychecks? What about when you're retired? Will you receive a monthly check to cover your expenses and also have some fun? Marvin Mitchell and the team at Compass Retirement Solutions calls this mailbox money. It's a monthly check you'll receive throughout retirement. They don't want you to worry about if the money will show up or how much money you'll receive. The only thing they want you to think about is how to spend it when it arrives. Find out how to get enough money in your mailbox every month when you're retired. Call Marvin Mitchell and the Compass Retirement Solutions team at 314-373-1598 to start working on a plan that can help you create the monthly income you'll need in retirement. Call 314-373-1598 right now and schedule a visit with Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois.
Your own Amazon business.
Hi, Ian Bauer. My first year averaged $45,000 a month in sales. Now I'm at $90,000 a month and hardly working.
Hi, I'm Amy Sherlock. I attended the Wholesale Formula seminar, and I'm now doing $175,000 in sales per month.
Hey everyone, Ryan and Karen Pottinger here.
Because of the Wholesale Formula, last year we ran our business while we traveled to and lived in 4 different countries.
Hey, Emric Manello. 2 years after attending the Wholesale Formula seminar, I was able to sell my Amazon business for over $400,000.
Whether you have a business and want to sell more on Amazon, retired, or just need extra money, America's Amazon expert Dylan Frost will show you how for only $49.99 guaranteed or your money back. That's right, discover the easy way to make money on Amazon with Dylan Frost's The Wholesale Formula 2-hour seminar Tuesday, March 28th at 2 p.m. for the greater St. Louis area. Register at thewholesaleformula.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Dan Houks is with me. He's a state rep from Warrensburg. He's the sponsor of the sports wagering bill. We're getting an update.
We're losing out on a lot of money. It's
right.
Those tax dollars I want to get back in the state.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Don't need a reason or a happy hour. Ain't hanging around for a fireworks show. Get a head start, a little sip of something. Off and running, here we go. 1, 2, 3, here we go.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. I'm glad that Brad brought this up on the break. So earlier in the show, it was a really interesting conversation with Hans von Spakovsky. Did you listen to that, Ryan?
Most of it.
He went through all of the main legal troubles that Donald Trump is facing right now. Do you see any of the ones he's got 2 in New York? So the Stormy Daniels one, but then also a tax concern with his business, which I don't really feel like is as much about Trump as it is about the organization and people who are in the organization, but maybe I misunderstood. So 2 in New York, 1 in Georgia with the election, and 1 in Mar-a-Lago with the FBI raid and classified documents. Do you feel like any of those are way more of a concern to Trump than another?
Everybody I've talked to who has any sort of legal mindset has said that the Georgia one is the most concerning, but when you played that juror, I forgot that was that same juror.
Just going to screw the whole thing up.
That is going to destroy that case. I mean, there's a lot of holes in that case anyway, but among the 3 that people are talking about, they say that one has the most possibility of hurting him.
She looked possessed when she was talking. She there's something about her that is, if you were watching a movie and somebody were behaving like that, you would raise your eyebrow about, ooh, what's going on with this character. She doesn't. I mean, you do make eye contact with a camera. She's looking all over the place. She's very frenetic in her movements. And she's acting like a schoolgirl.
And acting like this is fun. You know, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. He's Donald Trump, and I get to, push the button to put him in jail.
And the grand jury was like, you should be in charge.
Yeah, what the heck?
But it's so bad that people on the left and the mainstream media were like, this person's clearly a Trumper.
Yeah, they did. I remember that. I was like,
what? That there was a conspiracy to get her as the head of the jury.
Yeah. So while we're talking about the the Stormy Daniel Manhattan, that's the grand jury, that's the main story right now. There is a letter that's circulating on the internet. Have you seen this letter from 2018? And it's them saying this is in no way, shape, or form any kind of campaign contribution. Never was, never has been, never will be. Michael Cohen paid this out of his own money, blah, blah, blah. It's very definitive. And I wanted to read that letter to, I'm going to put it up on the stream. I'm going to put it up on the stream, Brad. So you can see what I was quickly during this interview with Hans trying to find this letter so I could read it. Should I have had it pulled up before the interview? I should have, and I did not.
It's a very informative interview.
Yes.
I mean, it is like fact after fact after fact.
So it came up that this was something, and I thought, ooh, I should read this letter to him. So I start reading this letter to Hans. But the problem is that the only one I can find quick enough so that I can reference it on the air is this meme that is, I'm showing it on the live stream right now, is this meme of the letter being held up.
Describing it is not going to do it justice. It's so funny.
Who's the lead singer of Nickelback?
Chad something.
Kroger.
Chad Kroger.
Chad Kroger, you know the meme. Chad Kroger is holding the photograph. Look at this photograph. Every time I do, it makes me laugh.
Oh, I almost put Nickelback in today.
Oh, man.
It's Chad Kroger holding the letter from 2018 up to the camera instead of the photograph, except for the fact
but it's a real letter.
The additional detail in here that's important is that it's Donald Trump as Chad Kroger.
Yes, wearing like the hemp necklace and everything, but it's Trump. And he's holding up. I can't believe that's what you were referencing when you were talking to Hans. Like you were, because the real letter's there.
It's the real letter, yes.
So you're reading from that.
Which is why, if you go listen to that interview, and I'm ashamed to say this, but if you go on the Odyssey app and you rewind to 12:25 when I'm doing this, you see where it says in that second paragraph, in a private transaction in 2016 before the United States presidential election, Mr. Cohen used his own personal funds to facilitate a payment of $130,000 to Miss Stephanie Clifford. Neither the Trump, and then I panicked because the word is cut off in the meme.
Yeah, because he's holding it sideways as he does in the actual music video.
The whole letter is not in the picture.
Right.
But I panicked.
It's such a funny picture.
So I said, Mr. Cohen used his own personal funds to facilitate a payment for $130,000 to Miss Stephanie Clifford. Neither the Trump, and then I pause and I go, well, I can't really read that word.
Oh, I heard that. I didn't realize that was why you said that.
That's why. I know how to read words. When I said that, I thought, oh, people are going to think I'm illiterate. No, it's the meme.
Or you're reading a blurry version
Don
of it, is what
Kroger right here doesn't have the whole letter in the picture.
I thought maybe that part had been redacted. I did not think.
It had been, but not in the legal sense.
Mm-hmm. It's, my gosh, that's a funny picture.
It's a very funny picture.
I mean, we've all seen a ton of memes. That meme would make me stop and laugh out loud if I was alone.
Well, I was trying to keep it together and act professional in front of Hans, and I kind of embarrassed the family.
Oh, man. Please, Brad, in the future, and Hannah, if you could, any document that Annie's going to read,
just do this to it.
Turn it into
do this to it ahead of time.
And cut the important portion off, and don't tell me until I'm halfway through the paragraph.
Yeah, here's A.G. Bailey's statement on Kim Gardner.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
And then there's some things here. They can't be important. They're not in the picture that Chad Kroger is holding up. Oh, no, wait. That's Donald Trump.
Please do that.
So that happened. We were talking in the first segment about chores and work and the value of work. The more we move through generations, if you look at our Ryan and Brad, our parents are of the grandparents, are of the World War II generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your grandparents' age, Hannah, would be boomers?
I guess, yeah.
Your mom is a Gen Xer.
Yeah.
I would think. She is now.
Yeah. I'm not going to say her age, but yes. And my grandpa just turned 84 on Sunday.
So, okay. Well, happy birthday, Grandpa. But when I think about the way our grandparents, the greatest generation, grew up, understanding the realities of the Great Depression and World War II, I mean, that's why people call it the greatest generation. They understand the value of everything. Do your grandparents? Do you still have grandparents
My
living?
one grandma still alive.
No.
I don't have any grandparents living either. My remaining grandmother passed away in 2020 in September, and she was 95. So she lived a wonderful life. But for the most part, that generation of people, they kept things. They keep things just in case. They have a real reason for doing that. They went through a time where there were not things to acquire or money to acquire them. If you understood what it was like to go through the Great Depression, if you understood what it was like to be in wartime America. So it's just something that we can learn about, but we cannot empathize with because we have no lived experience that is like that. And then my parents' generation is the boomer generation. They were raised by the the greatest generation. They were raised in a way that prosperity was abounding, post-war baby boomers. So, but they still were raised in homes that valued money, things for what they were, not glorified them, but I would say truly valued them. And I think every generation away from that, it's just very difficult for people to understand the value of work, the importance of work, the importance of showing up and contributing to something and being a part of something. And when I think about my kids' generation and their understanding of labor and contributing in a way that makes them really uncomfortable to participate in it. Ryan, how old are your kids?
8, 8, and 5.
Do they ever have to work in the yard?
Not really. No. I mean, they're not doing a lot of. I mean, I don't do a ton of labor, so they're not doing any.
There's really nothing else for me to say here, so I raised my case. But I mean, like when you think about that, the idea that you would have to go out and do something in the midst of your uncomfortability of proceeding in it, that's kind of lost.
Yeah, I mean, even on our generation, I don't think that's strong. I remember getting into the workforce, and I don't know if this is something my parents, who are of the boomer generation, deliberately taught me, or if this was just ingrained in the way they brought me up and it wasn't on purpose. But I remember when I moved into working, which I've always been in media, so it's not what you typically think of as
labor intensive
work. You know, it's creative work, it's mental work, and so much of the workforce in general has shifted to mental work rather than physical work. And so much so that we actually need more people doing physical work now. Right. But I had to break out of the mindset that that's what work was, because I was getting a paycheck to do something. In that case, I was doing TV and doing creative things, but I wasn't doing anything that I would consider to be difficult, you know? And so the shifting labor force was something that I mentally had to break out of to say, oh no, I'm actually working right now. Just like now, okay, I got to write a song about Eric Schmidt or something. I have to at times say, I'm working right now. Right. This is ridiculous, but I'm working.
Do we need to continue to instill in our coming generations the idea of labor? Because you did a Wiggins America not too long ago about, what was it, ChatGPT or Chat AI, whatever the new one is.
GPT.
But there's a new one, isn't it? Something AI, Open AI. I don't remember
Maybe.
what it is. But the idea that we are now going to educate kids on how to use AI in an effort to do the work for them. And I mean, when we're talking about work, we're not even talking about physical work. This is the only thing I really remember well from that conversation was you talking about what you could spell on calculators.
If you turn them upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah. 8008. No, that whole thing was about how the Superintendents Association of America was already agreeing that, you know what, AI is just going to take over everything. So let's, instead of teaching kids how to think, let's teach them how to use AI better.
If robots can go out and pick up your leaves and mow your grass, if you can get a Zumba for your yard. Roomba.
You can Zumba in your yard if you want to.
That'd be awesome.
Actually, you could Zumba while you Roomba in your yard because you wouldn't have to be out on the lawnmower.
You would have to be working so hard.
Yes. Should we still instill that idea of hard work? Hannah, you're 21 years old. Do you feel, this is not meant to be an insulting question, so don't take it that way, but do you feel like you've ever had to do hard work?
No. even the difference of me and my siblings, like my older siblings had to do a lot more chores than I did and work around the house. I don't know if that's just because I'm the youngest sibling or just how the generations have played out. But no, I don't think I've ever had to do hard labor.
Brad?
Maybe I'd learn a lesson or two.
Have I ever had to do hard work?
You talked about
oh, yeah.
working on the farm.
Uh-huh. And I mowed grass before I came here, which, I mean, yeah, you're standing on the lawnmower for most of the time, but there's also the trimming and the edging where you're walking around people's yards and blowing stuff off. It's dirty, it's hot, it's sticky.
Hot.
But there's a certain satisfaction that goes along with it.
Ryan, have you ever had to do hard work?
Even now, when you say work, I'm realizing this as we're talking, that I still haven't completely broken out of that mindset, because when you said, do you ever do labor? I'm like, no, I don't ever do what Brad used to do. I mean, I cut my grass, but I have a riding lawnmower. How hard is that? But Hannah said chores, and I'm like, actually, that is work. Of course that's work. I'm doing housework all the time. My kids are doing chores.
Mm-hmm.
So that stuff still does exist. It's just not what I think of as getting my knuckles dirty work.
What kind of chores do you make your kids do?
They're not quite to the height that they can take out the trash or do some of the dish work, but they have to pick up. They have to pick up after themselves a lot, and that's most of what they're doing is picking up the messes that they make on a daily basis.
So it's more maintaining themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Would you have them go out and just pick up sticks?
I have. We've done that stuff before. You know, in the fall when it's leaf time. Leaf day, we'll go out and rake together. They think it's fun for about 5 minutes.
And then what do they do?
And then they want to go do something else. And it's like, no, we got to finish this job. If we do it, because I think this year my mom did it for me. But
leaf day is the worst.
Ryan, good grief.
While I was here working with you all.
Well, the leaves that have been there when you got home from work.
Well, I didn't know she did it.
Well, that's just a nice mom.
Yeah, she was being nice.
Thank you for that. That was nice.
Well, I want to take a quick break because when we come back, I have to get an answer to this story. We were talking earlier in the hour about how I had chores growing up and got paid $0.25 a chore, but also got charged $0.25 a demerit by my parents. And Hannah said there's only one other instance in her life where she had heard of the word demerit. And we all have, would you say, questions.
I think we need to get to the bottom of this.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you ever get a demerit?
I got plenty of demerits.
Anna's going to give us that story in just a minute. Don't go away.
Don't wanna wait till the sun's sinking. We could be feeling alright. I know you know
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Frey Show.
RulerFoods.com. Sign up and be the first to know about Ruler Foods promotions by checking out their website and finding out where you can save extra at your shopping trip to Ruler Foods, one near you. Right now, you can save on lean ground beef sold in 3-pound rolls, $2.49 a pound. You can also get Boston butt pork roast, spare ribs, or boneless pork loins, $1.77 a pound. How about Hunt's pasta sauce or Kroger pasta, 10 for $10. These are great things to have staples in your kitchen. You can, dress it up however you want. When you walk through your local Ruler Foods, you're going to see how nicely and neatly everything is organized. It's easy to shop, and the experience saves you so much money. You walk out of there with a cart full of groceries and a smile on your face. At least the Frey family does when we shop at Ruler Foods. We tend to go to the one in Collinsville. We've been to the one in St. Charles. Go find the one nearest you. And like I said, check out their website so you can see what their latest promotions are. It's all available online at rulerfoods.com.
If you need a new fence or deck, experience matters. At Chesterfield Fence and Deck, they've been at it since 1968. Mark Cox here. If you want the sign you have the very best, go to Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Visit their extensive showroom there in Chesterfield. They'll give you free in-home estimates, no obligation, even free project design. Their fences are made in the USA. PVSA, they're wood, vinyl, or aluminum, even steel and chain link, and their decks are beautiful natural cedar. Plus, they have that Vecca Deck vinyl decking, which is the strongest in the industry with no maintenance. They also do custom sunrooms and screen rooms and pergolas. You'll want to find out more about Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Go online today to chesterfieldfence.com. Mention Mark Cox, and you'll get a special discount for the month of February and March. chesterfieldfence.com, or call them today at 636-532-4054.
It's March, and you know what that means. Taxes are almost due. Jackson Hewitt can help you win tax season. That's the sound of your maximum tax refund. The sound of getting 50% off tax prep. The sound of many of our competitors' prices going up. And the sound of getting to your nearest Jackson Hewitt. Hurry in for 50% off tax prep before this offer expires April 9th. Limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2. Have a plan to get there. Step 3. Make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all three with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
Don't miss the Hot Tub and Swim Spa Blowout Expo this weekend only at the St. Charles Convention Center. Browse over 30 hot tubs and swim spas from 5 major brands at up to 50% off. Financing is available and show admission and parking are free. That's this weekend at the St. Charles Convention Center. Visit spaexpo.com.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service offers insulation services. Did you know 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated? Increase your energy savings and comfort with better insulation. For details, visit aircomfortservice.com.
St. Louis is home for conservative talk.
Mining for truth in a landscape of BS. 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm through with standing in line to clubs I'll never get in. It's like the bottom of the ninth and I'm never gonna win this. Life hasn't turned out quite the way I want it to be. Tell me what you want. I want a brand new house on an episode of Cribs and a bathroom I can play baseball in.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
I'll need a credit card that's got no limit and a big black jet with a bedroom in it. Gonna join the Mile High Club at 37,000 feet. Been done. I want a new.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. We appreciate you being here with us this afternoon. We've been talking about demerits. Hannah said that I was talking about getting demerits when I was a kid because I was kind of mouthy. I deserved every one I got. But Hannah goes, there's only one other time that I ever heard of demerits, and you said that you acquired quite a few of them.
Yes, so I didn't get demerits at home, didn't even know what that was, but when I was a cheerleader, I heard of demerits, and we had those on our team, and I got plenty of demerits when I did cheer.
Ryan?
Yeah, I can confirm she did.
So we would get demerits.
Were you the creepy guy who was like 15 years older handing demerits out to the cheerleaders?
No, I wasn't there for the practices. I was just texting the coach being like, yeah, demerit.
What would you get a demerit for?
Well, I got the most demerits for talking when I wasn't supposed to. That was always like we'd be at a game and, we're supposed to be quiet and watching the game, but I was always talking to my friends. Quiet? Yeah, I'm watching the game. If you forgot if you wore the wrong bow or the wrong shell.
I'm going to implement. Just give me the list of rules. We're implementing them for the show.
Talking when you're not supposed to, demerit.
Misspelling the team name.
Yeah, that'd be bad. Not knowing the cheers, you would get a demerit. What else?
You said the wrong bow?
Wrong bow. Yeah. So if you were supposed to wear a certain shell or a certain bow and you wore the wrong one.
A certain what?
Shell.
Was your team the Turtles?
No, we're the Falcons.
It's like a mermaid thing.
Shell.
You were supposed to be Leonardo today.
You wore the wrong shell. Demerit.
Dressed like Michelangelo.
And if you,
the nerdiest.
I thought he was the blue one.
This is the peak nerdiest the show has ever been.
And you would have to sit out if you got enough demerits.
Like the Shredder.
Donatello, demerit.
Do you know what they're talking about?
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. TMNT.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. What are you talking about?
What is a shell? What?
A shell is your uniform, like your top, your shell, your cheer shell.
It's not just a top.
Why wouldn't it just be a shirt?
I don't know. They called it a shell.
Really? Did it stick out or something? Was it
Ryan,
some sort
no.
of, you know what I mean? Like, was there some sort of reason that it
I
was,
was a little
not
girl,
just
no.
a shirt? No, guys, come on now. What did it?
What?
Like, I'm picturing there had to be some sort of reason or some
You
sort of
should
like
stop.
some sort of wire in it or something that made it into a
no
shell.
wiring.
So it was just a shirt.
Just, it's a little cheer top.
See, where I come
shell.
from, they would have just called that your blouse.
No.
As
No.
That's what they said when we were kids. We go out to
You should shut up.
to playground
You should
time and
stop.
recess. They'd say,
Right,
Ryan, you got
Ryan, you're
dirt
starting-
all over your blouse.
You're starting
we
to do
need
the
you
nervous.
for this show.
Yeah, you're starting to do the nervous banter. It generally gets worse, way worse
Yeah.
before it gets better.
Let's go
Very
back
quickly.
to Hannah and all these demerits she got.
Vicky Long just gave you a demerit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Maybe that's the thing. The YouTube chat can hand out demerits. Vicky, can you keep the score and let us know? Ryan, I have a feeling I know how
Did
this is
your
going to
shirt
go.
stick out?
Stop
That
it!
was a stupid question. I agree. I
So
agree,
stop
Hannah. That
repeating
was
it.
inappropriate.
What? So if you got a demerit during cheer,
You
how
would
were
have
they
to sit out in
tracked?
the game.
And did someone have like a poster board in the stands where the demerits would be like?
No,
held
it was just our coach. But our
Your coach was doing that in the stands?
No, her and I really butt heads. And I did cheer when I was young, and I was already butting heads with this woman. But she would just she would keep track of it. And if you got enough demerits, you had to sit out of the game, which was not fun.
So you had to sit out of the game at some point.
But in
A time or two.
like
Oh,
in
man.
public, like did you have to sit on the bleachers and
Yeah,
not
and
cheer
it was
where people could
it was
see you?
embarrassing, yeah.
They put you off to the
And-
side with a big dunce hat.
Every time the football players would get a touchdown, we would have to do push-ups. And if you didn't do your push-ups, you would get a demerit as well.
Do they have like a penalty box that you put you in?
Basically
like
the
a hockey
bleachers. But
player.
when you do cheer to be able to perform at these games and be out there. So when you're doing that and then you have to sit on the bleachers, it was really horrible. I should just stop talking.
Seems like a real domino effect. If you weren't there to pump up the crowd wouldn't get pumped up, the team would lose. Am I wrong?
I'm
I
sure
should have
that's how
fought that fight.
I'm really sure that's how the basketball team saw it.
Right.
They would blame Hannah every time.
So
Basketball games were the worst.
demerits were a negative reinforcement. Did you have positive reinforcements?
No.
Okay.
Butterscotches.
They let me get back in the game
Right.
after the demerits expired.
That was a good cheer. You spelled turtles correctly. You get a butterscotch.
Ryan's handing out butterscotches as the cheerleader.
I didn't do demerits.
It's believable.
I rewarded everyone.
When you were
Oh,
growing up,
boy.
Ryan, in the 80s and the 90s, what kind of responsibilities did you have?
Same stuff as I do now. It was cleaning up after myself. It was taking out the trash. And I never cooked much, which is probably why I don't cook a lot today. Same things. So that just goes to show you.
Seems like you have
teach your kids well because they're going to keep doing the same thing when they
you
become
have
adults.
and you have been given low expectations.
Mhm, indeed. Set the bar low, always achieve higher than they expect.
I'm going to put this on the live stream right now. I would love for you guys to check this out if you're watching. This is an ABC News report, and it's one of the most disturbing things I've seen in a long time.
Oh, boy.
But graduates have created a robotic silicone device to allow people to kiss despite being separated.
Ew.
After being inspired by the isolation couples felt during lockdowns through COVID-19. So if you're watching on the live stream, you're going to be able to see this thing in action, and it's like connected to a phone. So you can FaceTime. This is a serious thing. So you can FaceTime with somebody and remember what it was like to kiss them if you were separate or.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that won't be used wrong.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Who kisses like that?
That guy.
Oh.
Robots.
Ew, that guy's making out with his phone. That's gross.
I don't like this. Take it off.
So do there have to be somebody else on the other
moving.
end? Because it's mimicking the lip movements of the other person?
I kind of wonder.
Why don't you ask them?
But I
Of course, this was stemmed from COVID.
well, you have one of these, Ryan, so you tell us how it works.
I cannot. I cannot do that. As much as I love robots, this crosses a very strict line for me.
Which line is that?
It's the part where they come all fleshy. When the robots get flesh, then I say, no, you go back to your place, robot.
Would it be better if this thing didn't look so much like real lips?
If it looked like metal lips like the T1000, I don't know if that'd be better either. You'd just be kissing teeth. So I'm not really sure how to achieve perfection with this particular idea.
If somebody thinks that they need this type of affection in their life and they're worried about a pandemic, should we maybe just risk it?
This is the visual representation of people thinking they're connecting with people online, isn't it? I mean, this people all think that they're developing friendships with people online.
No,
what you're actually doing is kissing fake lips. That's what's happening.
A new device out of China allows couples to share a kiss with real physical intimacy from anywhere in the world. The device, which attaches to your phone, is equipped with a silicone mold of a person's lips and has sensors and actuators to mimic an actual kiss from your loved one.
Oh, it's mimicked. So it's actually like formed.
No,
according to the person's face.
No. Wait,
It's
we
not.
haven't even scratched the surface yet. The kissing device can also transmit the sounds made by the user's partner on the other end.
I don't think anything worse.
I'm out.
The device's creator said the inspiration for the invention was his own long-distance relationship. The kissing device can be purchased for $40.
That seems kind of low.
You'd pay more?
No.
He did pay more. We'll be right back.
Need to sell your home, but not willing to play the wait-and-see game? Hey, it's Mark Cox here for Gloria Lou with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. With Gloria, you have options, including a no-obligation cash offer from one of Gloria Lou's cash buyers. It's simple, it's straightforward, and in many cases, you can receive a cash offer in less than 24 hours. And you can even pick the closing date. With Gloria Lou and her cash offer program, you're always in control. Not ready for a cash offer? No problem. Gloria has a guaranteed sold program that states Gloria will sell your home at the agreed to price and time frame, or she'll buy it guaranteed in writing. Call her today and ask about her no obligation cash offer program at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and the seller must agree on price and possession date.
When the economy is going strong, you're thinking, yep, at retirement, it's going to be on fire. When it's going badly, you're even afraid to look into your retirement savings. Enter Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw, Tammy Kershaw, and the Retirement Advisory Group. They're going to give you the exhale that you've been waiting for when you were nearing retirement, especially if you're 59 and a half or older. They're going to show you how you can now roll over your 401k tax-free to protect your nest egg and still generate more income than most other investment options. They will help you understand exactly what they do for people like you, talk to you about how they can walk you through this process, and then you can make a decision as to whether or not this is best for you. Many 97.1 listeners, many Annie Frey Show listeners have partnered with Thomas Helbig and the Retirement Advisory Group. We're grateful for their relationship and their support of this station and this show. And if you're looking to consider this for yourself, give them a call and schedule a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review today. 314-993-9494. You can find them online at retirementkey.com.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Bipartisan frustration. Lisa Brady, Fox News. Many lawmakers not buying reassurances from the TikTok CEO at a House hearing.
Representative Kat Kamak showed a video, a TikTok video, to members showing a gun with a threatening message about today's hearing. Kamak claims it violates TikTok's policy, but it's been up on TikTok for some 41 days.
Fox's Aisha Hasni on Capitol Hill. CEO Shoji Chu pledging to protect users and their data.
Number one, we're going to prioritize safety, particularly for teenagers, and we're going to keep it a top priority for us. Second, we're going to firewall off protected U.S. data from any unwanted foreign access.
Also insisting their Chinese parent company is not controlled by the Chinese government. An emphasis on deterrence in the proposed defense budget.
I think that we need to be really careful as we go forward to make sure that our military and our capabilities are way stronger than anything China can field.
The Joint Chiefs Chairman, General Mark Milley, says preventing a war is less expensive than fighting one. But critics say the largest budget in Pentagon history, $842 billion, doesn't account for inflation and isn't enough.
The editorial board of the Wall Street Journal criticized the Biden budget. Quote, this is a defense cut and not from an epiphany of fiscal restraint. Mr. Biden is choosing to put welfare entitlements over national security, adding the Navy would shrink the number of ships it has from 297 now to 291 in 5 years, at a time when China's Navy is expanding to 400 ships in the next 2 years.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin. President Biden celebrating the 13th anniversary of the Affordable Care Act.
All Americans deserve a peace of mind that if an illness strikes or an accident occurs, you can get the care you need.
Also criticizing Republicans for repeated efforts to repeal and replace Obamacare. America is listening to Fox News.
I'd rather ride a bike with my kids than ride in an ambulance.
I'd rather have a catch with my dog Curtis than catch pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with certain chronic conditions like heart disease, asthma, or diabetes, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20 pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Learn more at Prevnar20.com. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Our high temperature this afternoon should touch 70 degrees, but we'll start to fall back into the low to mid 60s going through the afternoon. It's windy and it's humid with waves of rain and thunderstorms. Tonight, rain and thunderstorms, some heavy downpours at times, some flooding along the small streams and creeks, cooler and less humid 43. Friday, scattered rain and a couple of thunder showers and cool 55. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
When you have Rhino Shield on your house, it does a couple of things for you. It beautifies the house, and it protects it from the harshest elements. And boy, do we see those here in the greater St. Louis area. You get instant curb appeal. It will stick to anything. Rhino Shield is the answer, no matter whether you're painting a home or a church or a business or a condo, because it's 100% waterproof. It takes care of the outdoor maintenance on whatever is on the outside of your home. The brick, the block, aluminum, steel, stucco, they can put this on with the 2 to 3 coat process. They're there about a week, and they do a great job. A lot of businesses have done it in the area. Several Firestones have done that. Vantage Credit Union over the years, Harlan Packaging down in DeSoto. Call Darren today and schedule your free estimate. 877-25-RHINO, easy to remember phone number, or go online today at 877-25-RHINO. SteelUSA.com.
There are over 10,000 reasons why steel is not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot. Find tools for the job site or your own backyard at over 10,000 authorized local steel dealers. Find yours at SteelUSA.com.
Boy, I love the folks at STS Armory, and I hear that from you as well. Folks who have gone and shopped at STS Armory. They're located in Pontoon Beach, Illinois, at the corner of Highway 111 and South Drive. If you're shopping for a firearm, accessories for firearms, or if you're looking for education, I have a friend who has purchased a firearm for the first time, and they're not 100% sure, how do I clean this thing? How do I go through and maintain it? What do I do to expand what I've already purchased? Well, you can get a class for that at STS Armory. If you go to the STS Armory location right there in Pontoon Beach right now, they have a few Annie Frey Show t-shirts left over. I mentioned this last Friday on the show, and I haven't mentioned it since then. So here's a heads up for you. If you'd like a free Annie Frey Show t-shirt, go to STS Armory in Pontoon Beach and see if they have any left, and they're giving them away for free. Ask them about the classes that they have. Also, talk to them about that firearm you've been seeking out, or if you just have in general questions. Maybe you've never bought before and you would like to, in Illinois, get licensed to conceal and carry. Maybe you just need to get your FOID card. They know all of the rules and the laws inside and out, and they can walk you through the whole thing. They're the best in the business. It's at sts-armory.com.
If you're trying to sell your home, there's only one group of agents in town I trust, Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. My friends Mark and Neil have the best system, options, and strategies to connect you to the best qualified buyers, getting your home sold fast and for top dollar. Check out thegelmanteam.com.
You're listening to award-winning, thought-provoking talk. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Your home for conservative talk.
On the air for over 20 years.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Happy Thursday. Mid-March. You guys, we're in mid-March. So we're almost a quarter of the way through 2024. So Christmas is right around the corner, right?
We're closer to the next one than we are to the last one. Do the math, and you will find out if that is true.
You go to public school?
I did.
Okay, just checking. It just seemed like it's going so fast. Spring is here. Excited about that as well. And I'm looking at this. It says March 16th on the top. It's definitely not March 16th. It's March 23rd. And to think we're almost done with March into April. For me, March to April is a dramatic transition.
Yeah, well, we're waiting on that transition. I think today is the first time, maybe yesterday, that we've really started to feel like, oh, maybe spring is finally getting close. Seems like it's taken forever.
But it also at the same time, it's the middle of March.
Oh, yeah.
It just seems winter sucks.
It just seems like on March 1st, there should be at least a mental change that the earth should accommodate us to. You know, we are already there. The earth should rotate to accommodate our thoughts.
We're going to get to this YouTube live chat poll discussion here at the end of this segment, so get ready to give us your responses to this. If your candidate doesn't win in the primary, will you support the nominee? Yes or no? Go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel and vote. Leave your comments. Hannah is going to feature some of those here in a little bit. When we talk about what's at stake in the 2024 presidential election, we have discussed a lot of culture things. I'm looking at my sheet here and I'm like, do I go culture? Do I go something a little more hard hitting? And generally the more hard hitting things that I do are when I have guests on. If I have Jim Carafano on and he's talking about foreign policy, because he's an expert and he understands these things. Listen to Mike Pompeo.
But make no mistake about it, we should be incredibly focused. Remember, it seems like a long time ago when the Chinese were running spies from their consulate in Houston, Texas, and I recommended to the president we close it down, and we did. They are definitely trying to undermine our way of life. They want our kids to live more like their kids, and that would be bad for the United States. We need to be vigilant in making sure we understand what it is the Chinese Communist Party is trying to do to us, and then pushing back against it. And I've seen no evidence to date that the Biden administration is up to that task.
working through the people who are likely to announce for the presidency on the Republican side, there is, of course, on the Democratic side, there's a difference to Joe Biden, and because he's the incumbent, is he going to run again? There is such a dramatic departure from where we are headed right now to where we would be heading on day one. You wouldn't even have to wait until the inauguration of a new president. Somebody like Mike Pompeo in the Oval Office, an incredibly dramatic shift in where America fits into the global landscape.
I don't think any of the candidates right now on the Republican side would be so foolish, and I include Donald Trump in this, who is very much seems like a loose cannon. I don't think any of them would be foolish enough to get in on day one and do what Joe Biden did, which is in the first week or two, basically take apart anything that had the name Trump associated with it. It was the stupidest way to start an administration.
I would push back on that. Donald Trump's entire first year was pretty much executive ordering, undoing things that Obama had done.
But he did it for a year. It was as in the first couple weeks, it didn't matter what it was. Biden was just going to get rid of it because his name was on it. I think Trump was going through and removing policies he didn't like that were Obama's, and maybe there was some showmanship with it a little bit. But I think it was calculated because it wasn't everything that Obama had ever done.
I think you sound like you were on Trump's side. I think that what Trump did to Obama, I think with a lot of the different things that he did with his pen and his phone, I think that Donald Trump undid a lot of Obama-era things. Anything he could get his hands on that he could executive order out, he did that. He talked about how he was undoing what Obama had put into place. And I believe that Donald Trump did it for the betterment of the country. I think it benefited the country. I believe that Joe Biden and the Democrats think that that's what they did as well.
I'll give you that. I think that they probably do think that, but there's so many things. The Keystone Pipeline is one of the biggest ones that comes to mind.
I don't know. I'm not going to. I don't think that they did it for the betterment of the country. I think they did it to erase Donald Trump. I think it was more personal than it was policy-wise. But
if you think he's the cancer that has plagued the country, then you think you're doing it for the betterment of the country.
Well, yeah, but then when you look at it, whether or not the policies were harming the country, I don't like him can't be the only reason you remove anything that he did.
But I don't think that when you remove the Keystone Pipeline that is, they don't look at what's best for the country. They look at what's best for the climate or a globalist point of view. Now, I think a lot of us could easily make the case that that's where the funds come in. That's where the money is. And that's where they continue to move down the path of what the progressive globalist viewpoint that the Democrat Party tends to have right now. It's not, that is the delineation there. It's not about what's best for the country because that's not what the Democrat Party campaigns on. They campaign on a globalist view, and the alternative to that is most definitively articulated in America First. The idea of what the Biden administration and the Democrats that are in power and pulling the lever or, moving the levers and all that right now in this Biden administration, what they are doing is not America First, but that's what they run on. That's what they campaign on. And we sit here and we look at it and we go, how could you be so ready and quick and proud to destroy this element that is so good for the country? And the answer is, it's not about what's best for the country. They have a different goal in mind. And boy, you couldn't have two more differing ideologies to vote for. The separation between what each of these parties has to offer the American in this country right now. Good grief, look at the southern border. There's no way in my mind that you can make the case that the way that we are handling our southern border right now is in the best interest of this country. And they're so dedicated to it. It's way beyond doubling and tripling down on this attitude towards letting people come here and enticing them to come here. Their goal has to be different than ours.
And that's another good example of a day one policy, too, because that did change pretty much the moment he stepped into office is when we started having all of these problems. I used the Keystone example, and it wasn't even deliberate. That one just came to mind. But the other one that's associated with Keystone is the removal of leases for all federally owned property for oil drilling. It was all sending this message that you shouldn't be drilling for oil anymore, which he campaigned on. Well, now they're backtracking on that a little bit. They're trying to not do it publicly, but they are opening up big portions of land in Alaska. So it's
but they
weird.
pulled back dramatically on the continental United States. Is that what you call it? Contiguous states? I don't know. Whatever.
It's continental if it includes Alaska.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it'd be contiguous 48. I mean, what they've opened up in Alaska, they have doubled down on what is here in the mainland.
Right. But I think what I'm trying to illustrate is that a lot of what they do is simply for the public perception of it. I think they would have backtracked on what they did with the border if it hadn't been such a big story because it's been such a disaster. But they want the credit for doing it this way.
They don't see it as a disaster. They don't even. How can you think that what this administration sees when they look at the border, and how can you think that they see it as a disaster and watch how they're handling it?
You know,
it's like we're measuring in
reality.
It's like we're measuring in volume and they're measuring in length. We're going to get like a conclusive measurement at the end. How can you not see that it is this? And they're like, what are you talking about? It's 62 inches.
But here's the thing, though. They're not, especially with something like the border or like you were saying, the globalist policies were world citizens and stuff like that. They're not blatantly running on that. That is their goal. They want to do that. They didn't come in and say, we're going to open up the border and let everybody in who wants to be in and erase the southern border no matter what.
But they actually have said that. Hillary Clinton says she dreams of a borderless northern hemisphere.
But she didn't run on that.
She did.
And she lost. They see it as a political liability.
No, I don't think that's why
Biden didn't run on that.
Well,
but he's doing it. But
they
see it as the right thing, but they don't see it as a political. They see it as a political liability. If they went out there and they said, "Hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make us less of a country and more of a world, global governance," they would lose.
I don't think that at all. I think that they see. I mean, you can hear it in their own words. They talk about borderless societies and they degrade what it is to be American, and they smear what it means to be American. I mean, so much of the foundation of what the Democratic Party is about how much of a disaster it is to be an American. And pressing upon that because they feel that they gain power and money because of that. And to look at the southern border, to me, there are such obvious, easy ways to reinforce the southern border to respect the sovereignty of our country. There are very obvious ways that you could do that. And there are very obvious ways that you could curb the people who are coming here without having to build a wall. I mean, there are things that you could do to push back against this idea of come one, come all. They purposely are not participating in the concept of curbing immigration into this country because that's their goal. I mean, Jim Carafano talks about that all the time when it comes to the southern border. They don't see it as a liability. And if they saw it as a liability, they would do something to squash it. They finally get shamed into going to the southern border for a photo op, and they clean the place up because they know what's going on. They know they have to invest in the idea of creating a picture-perfect scene so they can say that the president has gone to the southern border with the images of him at the southern border that are predisposed to essentially propaganda. They know what's going on, and they are doing nothing to solve the problem, especially when you talk about the people, the border crossings. They talk about how border crossings are down or whatever. They're just counting them differently. They're doing nothing to stop this problem from actually happening. We see report after report after report after people who are on a terrorist watch list who are coming across the southern border. Well, of course they are. Think about the people who are in this country right now have spent years and tons of money because they love and respect what the United States of America is, and they wanted to be a part of it. It's almost foolish to suggest that somebody go through that at this point.
Do you think those things, the things we're talking about in this segment, are a liability for this administration going into 2024? Or are people just glazed over like a Krispy Kreme donut at this point?
If Donald Trump is in the picture, I think the only thing that matters is Donald Trump. He has some of the most amazing, dedicated, passionate supporters that have ever been a part of a political movement. And they are matched by people who are the mirror opposite in detractors. The amount of people to pick up in that equation, if Trump is involved, is incredibly minimal. I think that you put any of these other Republican candidates out there and their upside, their entry level upside of support is a fraction of what Trump's is. But the voters who are in play are exponentially larger than what Trump is. Which is why for Donald Trump to be the guy who is the nominee for the Republican Party, to me, his best chance to win is if he runs against Joe Biden, because Joe Biden has that same thing going for him. He's got the people who are going to show up and vote for Joe Biden, and he's got the people who are never going to vote for this guy. I don't think that there are a lot of people in play, and I think there are people who will actively want to vote against Joe Biden because they're very angry about the way things are going, and there are people who are going to actively want to vote against Donald Trump, and it's just who shows up more.
Mm-hmm.
You take Donald Trump, you did Wiggins America with the suggestion of Jon Stewart as would he consider being a candidate for the presidency? This is obnoxious and not going to happen, but if Jon Stewart were the Democratic nominee and Mike Rowe were the Republican nominee, I don't think we know anything about anything. And I think they're both probably as good of as good of candidates for entering that process from a position that is intended to represent people like you and me. Ron DeSantis wins the nomination. He knows how to use government to his advantage. He's going to know how to go into the Oval Office with a team of people that also know how to do this, and he's going to be able to effectively take his agenda, whatever that agenda might be, and get to work on day one. Donald Trump is going to be able to go into that office and pick up where he left off and have a list of priorities, and all of the people surrounding him that are Trump loyalists who know the game now because they've been a part of it, and he's going to be able to get that job done, that agenda done. But everybody has a pretty good idea of what that Trump agenda is going to look like, what the DeSantis agenda is going to look like. Joe Biden, more of the same, what that agenda is going to look like. If Gavin Newsom got into this race and he became the nominee, I think we know what that's going to look like. It's an interesting thought experiment to consider what somebody who isn't a part of a system with a record, who does see a need for normal people, and Jon Stewart has done that. He has been an advocate for everyday American people in a way that I think is bipartisan supported in what the work he's done post 9/11 with people who have been involved in so much of what has taken place then. But he's a significant left winger. So it's not like Jon Stewart. Oh, Jon Stewart, nice guy. I vote for him. He's funny.
I hope you're right, because I mean, in this crazy mind experiment, I think there would be a lot of people who would just say, he was a funny guy. I used to watch him on The Daily Show.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Of course.
That's the vote.
There'd be a lot of people who would do the same thing for Mike Rowe. So when you think,
I would just hope his audience was bigger.
I think Mike Rowe has. He's expanded his audience, I think, and it's also interesting to think about the age of Jon Stewart's audience. Jon Stewart he's not like an Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez lefty. He's a little more populist and pragmatic compared to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. However, I think that the appeal, once it gets down to substance, it's just interesting, like I said, as a thought experiment to take away all the baggage of the politics and the campaigns that have already happened and just thought, what if we put somebody who wants to represent conservative ideals up against someone who wants to represent progressive ideas? Who would win there? Popular, well-liked, both of them have to prove themselves that they can handle this. That's where it gets interesting, and I don't know where the country falls there. I tend to believe that the United States is right of center. Maybe a smidge. But I don't know. Put Donald Trump in there. Put Joe Biden in there. And I think there's so much that is predetermined before even the first word is uttered in a debate. All right, we're going to take a quick break. I want you to vote on today's YouTube live chat poll. Real quick, Ryan, if your candidate doesn't win in the primary, will you support the nominee?
100%.
100%, Brad?
Yeah, I'm 100% on that one as well.
Same, yes. I need your vote, though. I'm curious how many people out there would say no. I'm not holding my nose for anybody. You don't get my vote if it's not my guy. Or maybe if it's this nominee and not that nominee. A lot of DeSantis-Trump vibes right there. Maybe you can't do it. Go vote in the Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll and leave a comment. Hannah is going to highlight those for us when we wrap up the show at 2:45. Trisha in studio with Annie, Are You Okay? In just a minute. Don't go away.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
AirComfortService.com. If you are questioning your air conditioning unit and wondering, oh man, is it going to be able to get me through another St. Louis summer? It's going to be hot out there before you know it. Air Comfort Service is waiting to take your phone call, 314-513-0091. Also, it's important to remind you, if you're a business owner, a building manager, operations manager, maybe an office manager that was recently told that your HVAC system may need some repair, Air Comfort Service is there to help you with your commercial needs as well. You can call Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation to get a free second opinion on commercial HVAC repairs. They have provided residential and commercial heating and cooling services for over a half a century. They have the reviews to prove how successful they have been, how they have helped people reclaim their comfort zone in their homes and their commercial businesses. Air Comfort Service is there to walk you through the process and to make sure that you feel comfortable and confident in the decision that you're going to make. They'll give you options. They certainly did that for the Frey family when we had to replace our furnace and our air conditioner and our water heater. Air Comfort Service has been there for us, and I know that they'll be there for you as well. 314-513-0091. You can find them online at aircomfortservice.com.
Tamara Green, a.k.a. Strawberry, was a beautiful, young, exotic dancer and mother of three who was gunned down months after she was connected to a wild party at the Detroit mayor's mansion. The party's rumor, her murderous fact. Who Killed Strawberry is Odyssey's riveting new true crime podcast. 20 years later, Who Killed Strawberry is still a mystery, although there are lots of theories about why she was killed. Was it connected to the party, to a grudge, or to something else? Listen on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, my name is Martin Winslow, founder and president of Bethlehem Christian Academy. Join us on our mission to be the hands and feet of Jesus and reach the nations with the gospel. Support BCA's ministry in transforming lives by feeding and educating poor and orphan children in some of the poorest places in Africa and South Asia. BCA's ministry not only provides physical bread to these hungry children, but also spiritual bread through the Word of God. Here's how you can help. For just $36 a month, you can offer these kids hope of a better future, but more importantly, give them the opportunity to learn about Christ. You can also join us on a mission trip to one of our several school locations overseas and meet the child you sponsor. To find out more about how you can get involved with BCA's ministry, please visit bcaministries.com.
Hi, this is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-3333. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, job relocation houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-3333. That's 782-3333.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
At Underlaw, we're looking for brave clients who've been injured and are ready to stand beside us in our fight to improve the safety of our community.
Call Underlaw Personal Injury Lawyers at 314 or 618 $9
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
If you use a smart speaker, you can listen to 97.1 easier than ever. Just tell it to play 97.1 FM Talk. Or download the Odyssey app for your phone and stream the station whenever, wherever.
Welcome back to the Andy Frey Show. We appreciate you being here with us. A reminder, the STS Armory location in Pontoon Beach, they have one location that's in Pontoon Beach. I sent them with some T-shirts last Friday after they played X's and O's, and I only mentioned it Friday and then here today. So I want to remind you, if you would like a free Andy Frey Show T-shirt, they have a handful of them. I don't know how many they're going to have left by the end of the day, but you can go there and tell them, Andy was talking about free T-shirts here. Do you have any left? And get a free T-shirt before they are gone. STS Armory in Pontoon Beach, Illinois. It's where I shop for my firearms. They're a great sponsor of the show, and I just wanted to give you guys an opportunity to grab some of these T-shirts for free, which is fantastic. Let's do a little Annie, Are You Okay?
And now it's time to play Is Annie Okay With This?
Hi, Trisha.
Hi, friends.
Thursday, Trisha.
Thursday, Trisha.
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to be more serious as Thursday, Trisha?
It's your segment. You can do whatever you want.
Okay.
The answer is yes.
I know one thing. We should
You can
stop
take
the music.
advice from Ryan.
Shut it down.
Yeah, make that music go away.
The music makes it fun.
Yeah.
That is not what we're looking for
We're
here.
not. It is Thursday, Trisha.
When he puts the music back on, though, you have to be silly. Just like that.
There she goes.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm going to stay serious.
Yeah, stay serious.
Well, there's no
Right.
music bed with this.
I don't know. It's Ryan's fault.
Very serious, and it's all Ryan's fault.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Scammers are using AI voice cloning to trick victims. Most of us have heard about the so-called family emergency scam. You get a call from someone claiming to be a loved one. It's super icky. They say they need you to send money. You send it, and they're ripping you off. Now, thanks to AI-powered voice cloning, scammers can actually mimic that loved one when they're calling you to steal your money.
So they take my voice and then they call my grandma and say, Annie's in major trouble. She needs this is Annie. This is Annie. I'm in huge trouble. I need $1,000. Send it here.
Mm-hmm.
So grandma sends $1,000 and then
because she heard from Annie. It's very icky. The question is, are you okay with voice cloning technology in general?
I hate all of this AI stuff. I hate all of it. There's no use for it that I've heard yet that makes me go, okay, I understand that. I have heard people say that you should have some sort of code word that you are able to communicate if there's ever a question about something, like if you're in trouble or whatever, if somebody wants to verify that you were you.
Oh,
in
that
email,
you're a human?
In email, in chat, in text, in phone conversation, that you should have a code word that you can use to identify, like a phrase, a question, and an answer that if I asked you this question, Trisha, you would answer it in a way that confirmed
that I was
that you were you.
Oh, isn't that terrible? We have to think like that now.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
scary.
That's a lot of the AI stuff is starting to bubble up to the surface. Jack Posobiec tweeted out a image yesterday of Donald Trump with like an AR storming the castle. I don't know what he's doing. But if you look at his hand on the barrel of the gun, he's got 6 fingers. Like, oops, that's not right. But I mean, this stuff looks real.
Yeah.
Man.
It now sounds real.
And people are taking it and they're going into very nefarious things with it. Not just like stealing money, but like there are lawsuits over improper images that are being AI generated.
Mm-hmm.
Adult
way worse
images,
than stealing.
Way worse than stealing money.
Who's surprised by that? Of course it's going to go that direction.
I know. It's gross.
Not okay with any of it. All of it sucks.
7 out of 10 Republicans think the country's best days are behind us.
That's sad.
That's our next story. It's a CNN poll, so take it for what it's worth. But they found that 70% of the Republicans they polled believe the country's best days are behind us. This number has jumped significantly since a similar poll in 2016 that showed that 49% of Republicans felt that way. Annie, are you okay with the results of that poll?
I could see how some people who maybe are inclined, to take polls like this. I hate polls. But people who are inclined to take polls, people who would be motivated to take these kinds of polls, feeling like that, and they might be older people. And if, as a 38-year-old, do I feel like our best days are behind us? I don't. But I feel like our worst days might be in front of us. I just think that it's a cycle. Yeah. And it's kind of what we talked about in the 1 o'clock hour about work and, my kids' generation. They don't know at all what it's like to labor. And I'll say, go out and pick up the sticks in the yard or whatever so you can mow the grass. And I mean, sometimes it's like the worst thing you could do to them.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Well, you can sit on the deck when you're done with that and just be uncomfortable for a little bit. I mean, the idea of comfort and, talking about AI, like what isn't going to be provided for us, there is a level of uncomfortability that I think that we need to remind ourselves that we need to experience so that if times do get worse, we're prepared for that and not completely caught off guard. Because I do think it's going to get worse before it gets better. Joe Biden doesn't have a policy in place right now that makes me feel like he's doing a better job. And I can't think of a single one.
Yeah.
So I believe the results of this poll, but I'd be curious to see what the demographics were of the people who took it.
Fair enough. Speaking of Joe Biden and running for president, Joe Exotic is running for president in
fantastic.
2024.
That seals the deal.
Yep. Long shot 2024 campaign for president, all while serving his 21 years in prison for his role in a murder for hire plot.
I thought this was supposed to be journalism. They shouldn't put long shot in there. We don't know.
So running a murder for hire plot doesn't prevent you from running for president.
Correct.
Just to point that out.
Yeah, he filed the paperwork and is listed on the FEC website as a presidential candidate. His campaign.
Is it that easy?
Yes.
Do you have to have
apparently.
any money? Do you have to have any money? Can Ryan run? Can Ryan?
I really think I could.
You can file.
You can just file. Yeah, it's not hard.
That seems like a new idea for the show.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do it.
This is how the movie starts, and he's gonna win.
I'll do it.
Andy's sitting there like, what did we do? What did we do?
Can you hit the 3-minute dump button? And just erase
Rewind.
that. Yeah.
Odyssey app.
It's like, I don't know, though. Can I run for president while running for Chief Justice of the Supreme Court?
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. Long jokes there.
Anyway, Exotic's campaign tagline, per his tweet, appears to be, which I don't know why he's tweeting from prison either, but make America exotic. He's outlined his political positions, which include criminal justice reform, among
I can only imagine why.
Loosely defined priorities.
I still know nothing about, what's that show called?
Tiger King.
Tiger King. That's what I thought.
Leave it like that.
Oh, for sure.
I understand. Yes.
There's no consternation in my being. It's like, gosh, should I go there? Should I watch it? Maybe it's as good as people say. I kind of duped you into watching it during COVID.
It is as good as people say, Annie.
We were
It's not. It's
we
terrible.
were crabbing about it during COVID because this was. I remember specifically. I was in the main part of my basement when we were talking about this. This was the top of the first of lockdown, and there's the best thing that could have happened to Tiger King because that show never would have gone anywhere. People would have been locked in their houses without any other choice but to watch Tiger King. And I said something to the effect of, well, if we're going to trash it every day, somebody on the show should watch it. Ryan, watch one episode of it and see if you can put it down after that. And then you watch the whole thing.
I blame you because then I became sort of obsessed with it.
It's weird. I don't even know what the hook is.
It is a crazy guy who
Is that
owned
Joe Exotic?
tigers, yes. And he had an arch nemesis named Carol Baskin who also owned tigers. And she was against ownership of tigers.
Rescued tigers. She
rescued tigers.
But owned them because of that.
Right.
She was a tiger collector.
But she was saving them.
Right.
That's the plot of the show. But
It's hard to see why.
It gets crazier every episode from there.
These are horrible people. horrible people that lucked out with the pandemic.
I'm not interested.
No, it's,
what am I probably not okay with?
Are you okay with people running for president from prison?
Well, Donald Trump might be.
I mean,
well, we had Andy McCarthy on this week and Hans von Spakovsky on a 1225. And Hans walked us through all of the main legal battles that Donald Trump is in right now. So if you want a little primer on the different battlefronts that Donald Trump has, 1225 today, or check out the Andy Frey Show podcast, wherever you get them from. You can be convicted of these crimes and still be the president of the United States. And Andy McCarthy said earlier this week, it's up to the American people to determine if that's who they want to serve in that office. Unless, I can't remember what the whole list is, but if you're convicted of treason or selling state secrets or those types of, I don't know, high crimes, then if you're that kind of a felon, you can't be the president. But like this buffet of crimes that potentially Trump could be convicted of, he can still be the president again.
Mhm.
So I think that it's up to the American people.
Okay.
Joe for president?
Yep.
Not
maybe.
the Biden?
Yep.
Would you vote for Joe Exotic or Joe Biden?
Ooh.
Is he running as a Republican or a Democrat?
Libertarian.
Libertarian.
Yeah, and the Libertarian Party
Of course
chair.
he is. How do you feel about that, libertarians?
they responded.
They didn't like
They
it.
didn't like it.
I'm surprised they weren't apathetic about it without any position
They were like,
whatsoever to take.
I was like, can they respond against it?
Shouldn't you uphold his right to do this thing? It's his life, and he wants to do that. Libertarians, shouldn't you just be wishy-washy on it and be like chill about it? Cool.
Yeah, they should.
A little
That's-
authoritarian for libertarians.
I know, right?
I don't actually have that much angst against libertarians, but they're too easy.
It's fun. Yeah, what do they have against Joe Exotic? That's my question.
Anywho.
Anywho.
Joe or Joe? Which one?
Joe.
Exotic or Biden?
Exotic. Maldonado.
Man, some might call him exotic.
What?
How much do you not want Biden to be the president? This is a tough choice, guys. This is tomorrow's poll.
I've
Which
never.
Joe do you prefer?
I've never seen anything about Joe Exotic outside of the memes. So I guess like if I vote for him and he goes in, I can just plead ignorance where I know what Joe Biden's doing and I don't like it. So
I vote for the meteor.
3 choices. Joe Exotic, Joe Biden with Joe Exotic's hair. That would be the 3 choices.
I'd have to Google his hair.
Yes,
I don't even
you
know
will.
what it looks like.
That's fine. We'll tell AI to generate
He's
it.
got a blonde mullet.
I was gonna say, he's gonna look like a really old dog, the bounty hunter.
There are Democrats listening right now. I could name them. And they're like disgusted and appalled that we would consider voting for Joe Exotic over Joe Biden. But can we put Trump into that conversation? Because you are buying Joe Exotic for president apparel right now on the internet if that is your choice.
Facts.
I think that I'm okay with whatever that was.
Okay. Now I want
Ringing endorsement.
Trump and Joe Exotic on the ticket.
Trump, man.
Well, no, I know, but
Like as
the rest of the country.
like as a team?
No, I
Okay.
want those two going against each other to see that polling.
I want to see Trump debate Joe Exotic.
I do too.
He would, if it were Joe Biden, Joe Exotic, and Donald Trump on a stage, Donald Trump, I think, would make Joe Exotic his best friend and be like, we're going to team up against that guy. Right?
Yeah, he's not getting voted off the island if it's those 3.
Oh, man.
Joe Biden's losing that one.
Well, let's take a break here and we come back. You going to stick around?
Sure.
Okay, we'll get to the poll results. If your candidate doesn't win in the primary, will you support the nominee? Hannah's going to give us the results and your comments. And we're also going to ask, Tricia, we'll get you in on this. What is the socially acceptable amount of items to eat when it comes to varying different things? So we're going to throw out different items and say, I feel comfortable eating this many pieces of pizza in public. And then maybe some of us might confess in private how that number may or may not change. The poll results when we come back. Make sure you get your response in right now on the Andy Frey YouTube channel. If your candidate doesn't win in the primary, if Joe Exotic doesn't pull it off, will you still support the nominee? We'll be right back.
The Andy Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
So the diamondshop.net, the website where you can go become a VIP. It's free to sign up at the diamondshop.net. Members get special discounts and merchandise, and your shopping experience, just wonderful personal experience with the amazing people at the Diamond Shop. You walk in, you have an idea of what you're looking for. Maybe you have no idea what you're looking for, but you have a budget. You have gone to the right place at the Diamond Shop. They've been around St. Louis since 1910, and you do not survive in an industry like this with a lot of big competitors out there and small competitors alike without having something that generationally people seek out. The Diamond Shop is your family business jeweler. They're the people who are going to be there to help you through the small purchases maybe at the beginning that maybe grow into some bigger purchases down the line. I appreciate the guidance that my family, that I specifically have received on a purchase that I was making for my husband, and he has given them a budget for things that he has bought for me, and they've been spot on every time. Learn more about them online at thediamondshop.net.
Did you know the IRS is a super creditor? Hi, I'm Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. The IRS is the only creditor that can create a bill for you without your permission, then drop the hammer and aggressively collect it by wiping out your bank account, seizing your assets, and levying your wages. No other creditor can do that, and this can all happen without a court approval. If you owe back taxes, you need to be prepared to face the super creditor. Don't just sit back and take it. Fight back. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, we know how to use the laws to your advantage and go toe-to-toe with the IRS. Our office is located right here in St. Louis. Contact the Lance Drury Law Firm today for a free consultation with me, or visit us at lance.drurylaw.com or call 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120 to get started.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey, honey, I'm home.
Bob, I just hung up with Joe. It's the 4th time he's called this week. He says he's worried because for the first time in 12 years, you didn't buy my anniversary jewelry from him.
You didn't tell him, did you?
No, I didn't tell him how we made the switch to Diamonds Direct and how much I love my new diamond ring or these incredible diamond stud earrings you got me either.
Bob's gonna go nuts when he finds out. But I can't believe how all these things he used to say about Diamonds Direct just aren't true. And the prices are a lot better than his.
Yeah, and what I love is the free service at Diamonds Direct. I can get my jewelry cleaned anytime, and everyone there is like family.
Are you getting all you deserve from your jeweler? You might be surprised. Maybe it's time to make the switch to Diamonds Direct for guaranteed better value, selection, service, and quality.
If he comes up on the caller ID, just don't answer it.
All right, but we can't keep dodging him. You know we're gonna see him at the family reunion.
Yeah, I know.
Diamonds Direct. No middleman, no pricing games, no compromises. Get details and showroom directions at diamondsdirect.com.
Start your Amazon business.
Hey everyone, Ryan and Karen Pottinger here.
Because of the wholesale formula, last year we ran our business while we traveled to and lived in 4 different countries.
In 2020, Americans made $50 billion selling on Amazon. Join America's Amazon expert, Dylan Frost, where everyone can learn how to start an Amazon business for only $49.99 guaranteed or your money back. 2-hour seminar Tuesday, March 28th at 2 p.m. for the greater St. Louis area. Register at wholesaleformula.com. That's wholesaleformula.com.
The only person who can change your life is you, but you need to know how. Listen to my show, The Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins.
Listen to The Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 54 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance, and installation of heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Thursday afternoon, Gloria Rodriguez joins me at 3:25. She's the attorney for the Osundario brothers. You know, the guys that beat up Jussie Smollett. She's also the executive producer of the new Fox Nation documentary.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Guns N' Roses?
Close.
Close.
Yeah, you're getting closer.
Will you please do me a solid and play some Guns N' Roses on the show? Sweet Child of Mine, I know that one. It's my favorite one.
Play some
We'll do some
obscure
quizzes.
deep cut from some record
What
nobody's
is
ever
what
heard.
is considered close to Guns N' Roses?
Well, same time period. This would be same genre of music.
Trisha, do you know what this is?
I've heard this, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, me
Come
too.
on! You don't know what this is?
I know this. I wouldn't have
The
known that it
newly
was Motley
legal
Crue.
age of drinking is judging us over there.
Yep.
What? Ouch. Hannah, what is it?
It's Motley Crue, Kickstart My Heart.
Is this on my list?
Yes. I might have put it there.
This is not a bad song.
We'll allow it.
Yeah. I don't love hair metal, though. That's my
Listen,
thing.
when you listen to Mark Cox's morning show, and I've worked with Mark for a very long time, Trisha, you worked with Mark for a very long time.
Yes.
This is the music he plays, I
Yes.
assume.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to play something like, what was that Watermelon Sugar that you just played before or
Yeah.
something? If you play that on the Mark Cox show,
He would pass out.
he wouldn't know what's happening,
No,
right?
he wouldn't know what it was.
So we
He
high
would
five
start
in the middle,
panicking.
and we share. We dip our toes
Little
and
crossover.
Yes, because we know that we have a very diverse audience, and that's important. That's not my.
I get
age,
that.
not my
I get
genre. I respect it. I hear the songs, and I'm like, this is great music. But I just keep guessing it's Guns N' Roses, and it has not yet been.
I do the same thing with Led Zeppelin, so I can't identify Led Zeppelin, or I couldn't at one point. So I would always, my husband would always say, "What is it? Who is this?" It was always
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin. I'd always guess it wrong. Now I guess it Led Zeppelin for everything, and I'm still wrong.
Yeah.
So
I very much so don't disrespect the music. I don't disrespect people who love it. As I've said before, I worked with KC for like 11 years or something like that as a sister station to 97.1. Totally respect it. Huge fan base. It's just not my cup of tea, but we do like to play it every once in a while because we know that it probably is your cup of tea. I want you to just give us a couple comments, Hannah, real quick on the poll before we get to the results, because I want to go through this list of food items and see
All right.
how we compare.
The poll is asking, if your candidate doesn't win in the primary, will you support the nominee? TJ from YouTube said, I could support any Republican besides Trump. He exhausts me. I think he does more damage to conservatism than good.
More damage to conservatism than Joe Biden would? I digress. Go ahead.
Janine says, I would support any Republican candidate running against any Democrat candidate as long as the Republican held up the values and political views that she had. Amy Gibson said, definitely. If Trump doesn't win, I'd still vote for the Republican candidate. Anything to keep Uncle Joe from getting another 4 years.
Biden or exotic?
Hannah.
Me?
No, I mean, Amy says old Uncle Joe. I don't know a whole lot about Joe Exotic, but
Wendy says, of the three main party platforms, the Republican platform holds closest to the biblical world. You, for me, as a Christian, pro-life, fiscally responsible, small government, and family values, that's where I will vote. Our friend Ball says we'll definitely support any nominee. Not supporting them is just handing progressives a vote and contributing to the destruction of our country that progressives so badly want.
if you want to get your vote in before we wrap up here, you go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel. If your candidate does not win in the primary, will you support the nominee? Yes or no? A couple more comments here after. Let's do this real quick, and then we'll get back to a few more of your favorite responses and the poll results. So hurry over to the Annie Frey YouTube channel and get your vote in on that live chat poll. Subscribe to the channel while you're there. All right, I'm going to throw out some food items, and in a public social setting. So basically, at least one witness, could be many. How many of these will you eat? I'll start with you, Ryan. Pizza slices.
3.
3. Trisha?
2.
Hannah?
Publicly.
Publicly, 3.
4 or 5.
I'm a 2. Anybody drastically different in private?
Yeah. I'll eat 5, 6. I'll eat a whole pizza. at
I was
home.
going to say the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many are in a pizza?
Yeah,
8?
in private, especially if you have enough that the kids aren't eating it all, I'll eat more than a pizza.
I'll eat whatever's in front of me.
My pizza and their pizza.
That's right.
Donuts. Publicly. Publicly. Trisha?
1.
1, and then I'm going back for another just in case. So
What,
2.
just in case of what?
Well, I don't want to do 2 at once.
The EMP?
Yeah. I'm doing 1, and then I'm kind of scouting the room. I'm probably doing 2.
Hannah?
We know I'm a bagel person, but I'll say 1.
1 donut?
1.
1 donut? I would say 1. Anybody drastically, I would do 2 if it were on my own and I was hungry and it was a meal. Anybody drastically different than 1? Or how big can you go?
Just 1.
Oh man, if they're Krispy
How many
Kreme and they're hot.
If you got a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts in your car, nobody knows they got there. and nobody's going to know if they're gone. That you've got a 12 donuts sitting next to you in the seat belted in the seat next to you.
Yeah. Pre-diabetes, I could put down 12 before I got home.
But that sentence is a whole story.
Before I got home. Yeah, they'd never even know they had 2 dozen.
Oreos. Are there how many rows are there in Oreos? 3 generally?
Yeah.
If there's a package of Oreos out, how many are you taking?
I'll take 3 in public.
3 in public, Ryan?
Yeah, 4 in public.
Hannah?
2.
Maybe 1 or 2.
I would say 3 or 4 probably. How many Oreos can you put back, Trisha, at your house? Nobody knows.
At least 2 sleeves, maybe the whole package.
Yeah, in my prime, half the package at least.
Again, this is a whole story.
I love Oreos.
I had 5 or 6.
5 or 6?
I could eat a whole package, but I don't like them that much.
Yeah,
so
I'm
I
not
wouldn't.
big on Oreos.
Taco Bell items.
Oh.
You're with a friend, you're with somebody else. How many things do you order, Trisha, at Taco Bell?
I usually order 3.
Ryan?
3.
Hannah?
2.
4 or 5.
You're on your own. You're paying with cash. Trisha?
5, 6, maybe.
From 3 to 5 to 6?
Yeah.
Ryan?
Still 3 or 4. I have no public shame regarding Taco Bell. I'm just picking what I
You
want.
could just have left off the Taco Bell part.
Cheat day, 4.
Cheat day 4. So you've gone from, what'd you say?
2 to 4.
2 to 4. Brad?
Probably 4 or 5, because I generally get the big items, the grilled stuffed burritos, the quesadillas, and the
So
Taco
Brad
Bell
is saying, I'm a 4 or 5 Taco Bell kind of guy.
Oh, yeah.
And big ones.
I am a 3 Taco Bell item person. I can't eat more than 3.
I can't. You can't if the tacos or the little wraps.
The 3, if I'm doing 3, there's usually like a cheese roll up in there.
Oh, those are pitiful. You
Yeah,
would eat
that's-
7 of those.
That's when you start to add 5 things.
I will get a cheesy gordita crunch and a chili cheese burrito. That's my order, generally speaking. And then, like, when you got kids, if they don't eat something, maybe you eat something that's left over. But now I have kids who are old enough to eat the leftover things. All right, let's wrap it up here real quick, Hannah, with the YouTube live chat poll. How about one more comment and the results?
All right, here's a comment from Amanda. She says, it's just selfish and ignorant not to support the candidate just because they aren't your specific candidate. Specific. Grow up and go vote. The question is, if your candidate doesn't win in the primary, will you support the nominee? 91% of the people said yes. 9% of the people said no.
229 votes. 91% said yes.
91. I want it to be higher because that means there's 9% that aren't going to do it.
Yeah, but that's still pretty good. That's still pretty good. Yesterday we were 54% DeSantis, 46 Trump. 91% of those people said, give me the nominee. Mark Reardon up next.
Hi guys, it's Mark with Pineview Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of the pills? Well, we have a major medical advancement that has helped thousands of men. Our wave technology is backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge University. It's been shown to increase blood flow by repairing blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED, call us now, and not only will the assessment and blood